Horn Network. Iowa State in town at 2-4. Texas also at 2-4. Jetpack guys getting ready to go here, and we are as well. Longhorns coming off the loss to Oklahoma. Both these teams have played a pretty tough schedule throughout the year, and now ready to face each other here tonight. Welcome in the booth, Kevin Dunn alongside former Texas defensive back, also Buffalo Bills defensive back, Ahmad Brooks. Ahmad, last year in Ames, these teams played a pretty wild game. Texas ended up winning 31-30, but a couple close goal line plays. Jonathan Gray was a ball carrier on both of them. Iowa State fans will tell you he fumbled. Texas fans will say he was down. What are you talking about? But as we take a look at this game this year, redemption, does it play a factor?
I'm not sure if it does. Now, I do think that this is a team, an Iowa State team, that feels like they were robbed of a victory last year, so maybe they play a little more angry, with an edge. But aside from that, I'm not sure how much of a factor it'll be once the ball is kicked and the first whistle blows.
Oh, Iowa State thought they had a touchdown. Case McCoy ended up taking the quarterback sneak in for a touchdown. Texas was fired up. Paul Rhodes was not after the game.
To make a play on the 1-yard line with their backs against the wall, clear to everybody, and have it taken away from them. That's hard to express.
Always a great soundbite. Paul Rhodes was a great defensive coordinator at Auburn. He's done a nice job at Iowa State. You see what they've done in road games. Been a pretty good road team considering what maybe some of the talent they've had. They came in here, got their first win, only win against Texas in 2010. That was a big win for the program. As here come the Horns. Well, we talked about that one loss. Texas with 10 wins in the 11 meetings. Only one of those was not in the Big 12. That happened in 1979 when Texas got the victory. Been pretty dominant against Iowa State, to say the least, though, in Big 12 play. Tyrone Swoops, as a defensive player, you look at his maturation the last couple games. What do you see on film?
One of the things is his scrambling ability, and particularly moving to the right. We're going to watch some films here. The first one here, Harris at UCLA. I love his eyes. They're active. His arm is always ready to throw, and the ball is thrown on target and location. Here you see Kansas looking for Shipley, doing a nice job of buying time with his feet. He had a two-way go there. He could have ran or he could have thrown the football. And now you see OU. This is the evolution of the young man. Watch him throw into space. There are two defenders there. He throws the ball low and away, only in the perfect location. Now this is the only play that you see going to the left. Bates this defender. He either charges or covers. He decides to charge, whoop, dumps it right over the top. John Harris for a first down. This is where this young man is really beginning to mature. And I can tell you this much, this coaching staff has told him, we want to see you run the football more.
Well, the coaching staff feels like Tyrone Swoops had his best game. The numbers would back that up. Coach Strong was very happy when we talked with him yesterday. So was offensive coordinator Sean Watson. They feel like that he is certainly progressing and taking that next step. They want him to take that next step in this game. What is his ceiling? Where can he go from here?
I think the sky's the limit for this kid, and particularly as a quarterback, you're judged on third downs and in fourth quarters, and that's something that he has to continue to get better. He has a slip there in the third quarter, and we've seen at times the ball's been in his hand with the team winning, and he couldn't pull it through.
A moment ago, Jane Slater, third member of our team, caught up with head coach Charlie Strong.
Coach, Tyrone Swoops had sort of a coming out party in Dallas, accounting for 384 total yards, more than any Texas QB at Texas OU. How does he build on that?
Well, he has to play well tonight. He just has to be consistent, just manage the offense. Has a lot of players around him, just make sure we get the ball in the right players' hands.
Your team coming off two really tough losses, hard-fought ones. What have you guys worked on this week to get the win today?
Well, we just had to play well, and we know what we have to do on all three phases, offense, defense, and the kicking game.
Coach, appreciate your time. Guys, back to you.
Jane, thank you very much. What have you seen from Charlie Strong? What stands out to you in his first year?
I love his energy, and I love the way that he is motivating players on an individual level. When you talk to the players like we got a chance to yesterday in our meetings, it's clear that he's connecting with them, which I think is building and fostering some chemistry that was needed here at this university. And I love the way that he continues to be upbeat. Despite a 2-4 record, you still see him encouraging players and making sure players are involved.
Both head coaches got started as defensive-minded guys and very good defensive coordinators. Both were in the SEC. Charlie Strong at Florida, Paul Rhodes at Auburn, now in his 6th season as the head coach at Iowa State with the 29-40 record. You heard the passion earlier. I think the Texas players, after talking to them, enjoy playing for Coach Strong. No doubt the same is true for Paul Rhodes.
Well, he's just an energy guy, and it's, you know, it's viral on YouTube, watching him give his pre and post game speeches in the locker room. Another guy that's great at finding a reason to make players play passionately, and that's what football is all about.
Texas won the toss. They are going to defer to the second half. So Texas will kick right to left. Nick Rose will be the kicker. A couple pretty good return men, Devondrick Neely and also Jarvis West. Actually, Aaron Wimberly's going to go back. West, who's kind of been dealing with some injury issues, is probably their best return guy, and that already is a pretty big sign here, Ahmad.
Yeah, it means he's not 100%, which means he'll probably get some limited reps, and West is certainly one of those guys that can take the distance.
And we're underway. Rose showing that big leg. And that will be a touchback. Well, the quarterback for Iowa State is Sam Richardson. Sam B. Richardson, 6'2", 221-pound junior. Really has progressed, making his 17th start, 33 total touchdowns, and he's really led them in almost every offensive category so far. Dual threat guy who's obviously leads them in passing, but also leads them in rushing. Texas coaches talked about that importance yesterday. Play action, Richardson, and that's knocked down. Jordan Hicks was out there. We'll take a look at our impact players. Who do you have, AB?
Impact players, I'm going to go with number 11 for Iowa State, E.J. Bibbs. This kid is right at around 6'3". He's an exceptional target, great hands. And Jordan Hicks is the clear-cut leader for this Texas defense. He'll be involved tonight in a lot of plays.
Quandre Diggs involved on that play. Makes a tackle, and it'll be 3rd down. Vance Bedford, the Texas DC, very happy with what this defense has done overall. Held Oklahoma only 29 yards in the first half last week. 3rd down and 10.
Watch that guy right here in the slot. That's E.J. Bibbs.
Richardson under pressure, and down he goes. Ridgeway and Dalton Santos got him.
You just see a 5-man pressure here coming from this Texas team, as you'll see. 3 men down, Jordan Hicks in coverage, and the pressure gets there. What a wonderful opportunity as you see Ridgeway getting involved, all the big fellas, and Dalton Santos, who got the start tonight. But Ridgeway there, taking on a double team and splitting it right down the middle. That is textbook.
Colin Downing will punt. Jordan Shipley to return. It's a good punt. He's got some room, though. Shipley up the right side, looking for an alley, is finally tackled. But a nice return for Jackson Shipley in Texas with pretty good field position. Take a look at the Texas offense. Tyrone Swoops, the quarterback for Texas, is a sophomore from Whitewright, Texas. Big kid, 6'4", 243 pounds, and he just seemed more comfortable even talking to him yesterday.
He's played in some big games already. He's got the start versus 3 ranked opponents, and I certainly hope that that will help him ease into today's game and help lead his team to a victory.
Those aren't boos, that's Swoop. Hand off to Malcolm Brown. Brown's got some room. 1st down as Jevin Miller made the stop.
Oh, and this was just an excellent job of the offensive line up front. You'll see them here, the right side of the line. Watch these guys. Completely paving the way, doing a nice job of shielding guys, not necessarily knocking them down, but here's another look. You see it there. Taylor Doyle getting off in front as the center, and the rest just opening up a big hole for the senior running back, Malcolm Brown, to pick up a first down.
12-yard gain. Little bootleg action. Swoops rolling left. Looking for his man, John Harris, and he makes the play. Well, we showed him on the run. A lot of times he rolls right, but he can roll left as well, Ahmad.
He can, and here you can tell he's more comfortable rolling to the right, but you see here the play action. When the running game is working, you'd like to see him throw this ball a little bit more on time to give his wide receiver an opportunity to get a clean catch, but give John Harris credit for catching the football in traffic.
2 plays, 2 first downs for the Horns. Play action, swoops over the middle. He's got his man, Marcus Johnson. Touchdown, Texas.
Yeah, Marcus Johnson just beats one-on-one coverage.
.28 yards. AB, they've been waiting for 7 to bust out. Rose will come on for the extra point. It's up and it's good. 3-play, 52-yard drive. It ate up 55 seconds for the Horns' first possession. Finished off by Marcus Johnson. It's 7-0 Horns. Leads Iowa State 7-0, 12:43 to go here in the first quarter. What a drive for Texas on their first possession. 3 plays, finished off with Marcus Johnson.
Yeah, they're just beating one-on-one coverage, and I want you to see here, these guys are locked up in coverage. So you've got Nigel Tribune on him. Marcus Johnson is just going to run a skinny post, but he's reading this safety. If this safety charge downs, he's going to get this ball into this window. Watch what Tyrone does here. You see his eyes, he's reading the safety. Voila, wide open in the middle of the field, and it also helped that backside safety also bit on the play action pass. So when Texas is running the football, they can get into their play action game and do just that. Excellent job of reading the safety and putting the ball in the right location.
They got the sideline fired up. Nick Rose to kick off. And another booming kick. This is not going to be returned. There is a penalty flag. Check to see what that is. Kevin Dunn, Ahmad Brooks, Jane Slater here in Austin, Texas. Both teams at 2-4. Big game for both teams in the Big 12, which has already had some shakeups as we check in.
Offside, number 5 of the kicking team. The 5-yard penalty will be added to the touchback spot. Ball will be placed on a 30-yard line. First down.
It's Rick LeMay, the referee, as Charlie Strong looks on. Penalties were an issue for Texas last week and something that they definitely want to clean up as they move forward. First and 10 from the 30. Richardson's going to keep it himself. Good gain, almost 7 yards. You take a look at Iowa State and what they've done this season, a little season recap. 0-3 in Big 12 play. They were picked to finish 9th in the preseason poll. Talking to some of the guys at Big 12 Media Days in Dallas, they felt like they were going to have a better team and they were going to get better, and that's something they feel like they have done. 14 players have made first career starts, 5 freshmen. They have 8 guys that are done for the year with injuries. They've been banged up, so has Texas. Richardson going to take it himself and nothing there. Dalton Santos read that the whole way, and it'll be 3rd down for Texas, or for Iowa State.
That was an excellent play by Dalton Santos there. As you saw him on the outside edge, and he just read the play. A nice job of keeping his outside shoulder free, forcing Richardson back into his mates.
Trips to the left. Richardson in shotgun. Looking for his back. He's got Neely, and Neely's going to go all the way in Texas territory. He's pushed out, but a first down as Michael Thompson knocked him out.
Yeah, and Richardson there just reads the blitz. You'll see him there, the guy coming off the outside edge. He sees that, knowing that Dalton Santos is probably in coverage, and he stands tall and tough in the pocket. And even under duress by Adrian Colbert, still manages to get the ball in the flat.
Go back to Devondrick Neely, 5'10", 189-pound redshirt junior. He really plays as much as Aaron Wimberly, and both guys would tell you the run game needs to get going. The offensive line would tell you that. It really is a group, and their run game has not been where Paul Rhodes wants it to be. 2nd down and 7. Texas bringing pressure. Iowa State picks it up. Richardson, and that went through the hands of Vario Montgomery.
You see outside Michael Thompson, who is slated as a starting safety, but in talking to Vance Bedford, he's clearly played more reps out on the edges. He's a corner nowadays.
3rd down and 6. Richardson under pressure, going to get it to Neely, but Michael Thompson is waiting for him, and Texas will gang tackle him. Amadi calls, Vance Bedford calls 3rd down, his money down, and Texas has been money the last couple games on that down.
You've got to get off the field here. They come with just a simple 4-man rush. Nice job of protecting up front, but Malcolm Brown still manages to get pressure on the quarterback. And once again, we see Michael Thompson coming up and making an open field tackle to get this defense off of the field. Great team defense on that series.
Colin Downing going to punt. Downing is a high school hockey captain in Wisconsin, one of the toughest guys, and he's been active so far as Shipley takes the fair catch, and Tyrone Swoops in the Texas offense after a 3-play drive will be back out right after this.
End zone. Touchdown. Eats it deep, and there's Shipley. He's got it. Does he get in? He does. Touchdown. Whoops. There it is. He lofts it into the corner of the end zone. Harris. Touchdown, Texas.
Football on Longhorn Network is brought to you by the new Chevy Silverado, official truck of the Texas Longhorns.
Well, Texas, some tough practices in the August heat, and still trying to get back at it and get better. Texas looking so good so far. They lead Iowa State 7-0. 10:44 to play here in the first quarter. Kevin Dunn, Ahmad Brooks, Jane Slater. To start at their own 15-yard line. Swoops looking deep for John Harris. And they're going to give it to him. It's a catch. Nigel Tribune was fighting for it, and well, it looked like either one of them could have come up with it, but Harris gets it.
Harris right here, he's on the boundary side. He loves these one-on-one matchups. He just burns by Nigel Tribune. Now, he's in great position. I don't know if you can be in a better position as a defensive back, but look at the excellent catch. He goes over the top of the guy. Great hands, soft hands, thrown in the right location. John Harris with another big play for the Texas Longhorns.
32-yard gain. Going to go back to the air. Going to go back to Harris. Harris trying to fight off Tribune. Nigel Tribune really got his first taste of D1 ball a year ago against UT. He had 3 pass interference calls. Also got beat by Mike Davis, the Texas senior. Said, I really learned what college football is all about. He's been excellent and learned from that, Ahmad.
Yeah, one-on-one is where you make your money. If you're a cornerback, you want to compete, you want to challenge the guy across from you, and you want to take him out of a ball game.
To the right, another play action. Swoops now on the run. He's going to take off. He's got the first down, and he's got more. T.J. Mutcherson brought him down after the first down run.
Now, this is what the Texan coaching staff has been asking this young man to do there. They said if it opens up, run in that lane. He did just that. The pressure comes. It flushes him to his right side. Nice job of protecting up front on the right side of the line. And then the big boy just gets out on the move. He's hard to tackle in open space.
Swoops on the run again. This time he's going to hit Jonathan Gray. Gray in the flats. He's trying to tightrope down for a first down. And he will move the chains again.
I really like the design of that play. Jonathan Gray and both Malcolm Brown in the backfield. They give a play-action fake to Malcolm Brown and slide Jonathan Gray right into the flat. Those are the types of plays that catches the defense off guard when you've got two dynamic backs in the backfield.
One back in the backfield, it's Gray. Gonna throw it out to Shipley. Shipley makes one guy miss. Ends up being tackled by Mutcherson, but he made Sam E. Richardson, the cornerback from Texas, miss.
Shipley doing a nice job here because this ball could have been thrown a little more on time in terms of getting it out of his hand a little bit quicker. He should have anticipated it's coming this way, and then once that happens, you give your wide receiver more time to make his moves and to make something happen.
198 catches during his time on the 40 acres. What a story he and his brother have been at wide receiver. Going to try it out right this time. He's got his guy, Monty Foreman. Can he get in? He tight ropes. Touchdown, Longhorns. Let's see what the flag is. We're discussing it right now. Is Strong.
The ruling on the field is that the runner stepped out of bounds on the 8-yard line. We also have an unsportsmanlike foul charged to the visiting team. The penalty will be half the distance to the goal. First down.
Ahmad, touchdown or no, Monty Foreman is the type of guy Charlie Strong has talked about in terms of making plays for this team and has the ability to do that.
He's the ideal target for the quick passing game. He's the player that you want to get out in space, especially with the absence. You see it right there, that right foot perhaps went out on the 8-yard line. You can see it here, but an exceptional athlete with great speed and an ability to stretch the defense. That time there, the young freshman not being able to finish the play. He'll want that one back.
First and goal from the 4 after the unsportsmanlike conduct on the Cyclones. Going to give it right up the middle. This has not been the easiest area for Texas in the red zone, and specifically once they get into the 5, they've had issues with quarterback center exchange, and that has to start to, I would think, get in your head a little bit, Ahmad.
Indeed it does, and when you look at it, they've had 21 attempts in the red zone. 13 of those have resulted in touchdowns, which leaves them right at about 62%. They'd like to increase that and make sure they're not hurting themselves by taking those 4 points off of the board and converting those into touchdowns and not field goals. And here's another prime opportunity for them to do that.
Sean Watson, Texas co-offensive coordinator with Joe Wickline. Joe Wickline, the offensive line coach, is on the field. So Sean Watson is up in the box, gets a good view. He likes having that view and feels like this offense is coming around. But the main word that we seemed to hear yesterday from talking to the Texas coaches and players is finish.
Yeah, that's what it's about, you know, and unfortunately for this team, they've really taken it to some ranked opponents in the first half, and all of a sudden you look at the UCLA game, the Baylor game, and also last weekend versus Oklahoma. You're in the ball game, but coming out after half has really been a struggle for them. We'll talk a little bit later about their third quarter struggles, but this is a team that's still trying to figure out how to win, as Coach Strong said, and here's another great opportunity for them to test their will.
That was Brandon Jensen, the big 6'5", 303 defensive tackle. They could use him right now, and Texas takes advantage of it with Jensen out. Gray says, I'll take it. Touchdown, Texas. Jensen by far the biggest guy they have. Taylor Doyle, the Texas center, has been moved in there the last couple weeks. Got a good push as Rose comes on. Sneaks it through, and it's 14-0 Longhorns. First one they got through the air. They went old school for touchdown number 2. Longhorns lead it 14-0.
Put your eyes
Coach and co-offensive coordinator Joe Wickline talking to his big boys as Texas leads Iowa State 14-0, and they really got after it there, Ahmad, on this goal line drive.
Yeah, and speaking to the coaches, they say they've only got 6 guys, but I want you to watch number 71 right here, Cameron Hughes. He doesn't play a whole lot. He and Taylor Doyle really break this play for the running back to get into the end zone. As you see, Taylor Doyle, a nice job with Flowers there, but it was the second effort from Hughes that really opened up that hole. A guy that we haven't saw a lot on film, so to see him out here, that must mean that Cameron Hughes is doing something right. And he's also got a brother on this team that's probably competing a little bit for playing time as well at the defensive end spot. He wants some now.
Number 40, Nashon Hughes, his brother, has actually been getting more time as a Texas sideline, trying to stay on the sideline. It's going to be returnable. Nope. Bondrick Neely says he'll take a knee. Well, the Texas defense has been playing lights out really all season in the last couple of weeks, but they've been on the field a lot. The Texas offense in 2 drives has really helped this defense out, something the coaches noted in our meeting with them.
Well, it's got to be hand in hand. And for this defense, they've got to be proud of themselves for not pointing fingers. And you talked to Malcolm Brown, John Harris yesterday, and Tyrone Swoops. They said they need to match the intensity level of this defense in order for this team to reach its peak. And I couldn't agree more.
It's a big drive for Iowa State. They need to get something going. E.J. Bibbs in motion, the all-everything tight end. They're going to go ahead and throw it, and it's a little bit too much for the freshman Allen Lazard. Lazard has been a great story for Iowa State, and he's a kid whose dad was a legacy at Iowa State. Older brother's a walk-on. He was recruited by Notre Dame, and some big schools turned him down, though, because he wanted to go play for the Cyclones. Martinez Syria. He's a freshman from the state of Texas, their biggest back at 6 feet 205. Another money down for Vance Bedford in this Texas defense. 3rd down and 5. Cyclones need to convert. And they do. Richardson finding his man, Davario Montgomery. Not a big shock, AB, because Montgomery and also Sam Richardson played together high school ball in Florida, and you saw that on film. They've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, last week he has 9 catches for 90 yards, and you could really tell that they've got some ongoing chemistry.
Aaron Wimberly fighting for yards. Wimberly, probably a name everyone recognizes. You're not an Iowa State fan, obviously you do if you're a Cyclone fan, but he really hasn't had the senior year they were looking for from him, Ahmad. They need to get him going after a great game last year against Texas.
Yeah, he still leads this team in rushing touchdowns with 3, and so that's one of the areas where they know they can depend on him is finishing off plays.
High school buddies go after it again as Montgomery, big kid, 6'5", 219, redshirt sophomore, makes the catch, and Richardson's leaning on. Good drive here for Iowa State. They're in Texas territory.
And they've started this up-tempo trying to wear down this defense.
Texas is going to bring pressure with Santos, and they're going to bust it. Wimberly with a couple moves. Taken down by Dylan Haynes. That's a big run for Wimberly. His longest carry was 14 yards.
Yeah, they catch Texas in a 3-man front, and the blitz comes to the opposite side, A-gap, and Wimberly just finds it and squirts right through the middle for big yardage.
The longest carry of the season for Wimberly. We've seen Texas with that middle linebacker, whether it's Steve Edmond or Dalton Santos, blitz him a lot. That's something Vance Bedford likes to do. Iowa State took advantage of that.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those calls where if they run that way, you get it right. If they run opposite of your blitz, you got it wrong. And you've got to ask somebody to do 2 jobs, which is go make a play elsewhere.
Richardson's going to take off. He's got a first down, slides. That's the dual threat Ahmad talked about to start the telecast off. He can really do it all.
Yeah, and they brought the blitz this time. You'll see it's a 5-man pressure, and he just sees the opening. And he knows if they're bringing 5, that means there's space downfield. Guys are in coverage. Richardson, being smart enough, savvy enough, takes off with his feet and buys time.
It's again going to the air. He's got his freshman, Lazard. Lazard also a big young man. Allen is 6'5", 221 pounds. Brian Kelly really wanted him in South Bend. A lot of teams did. Texas well aware of how talented the freshman is. highest recruit ever under Paul Rhodes at Iowa State. Going to go back to the ground. Another first down. See E.J. Bibbs, the tight end, creating room for Wimberly.
And the right guard for Iowa State. 93 is getting carried away. That's Brandon Jensen.
That's not a good sign for Iowa State. They do not have a lot of beef on that defensive line, and he really is the beef.
Indeed.
First down and goal here. Bibbs in motion. Going to give it off to Wimberly again. Trying to fight his way. Ahmad, this Texas defense has been so stiff, especially when you shrink the field and there's not a lot of room to run in the red zone. How would you attack this defense in the red zone?
Well, there's not a lot of space for offenses, so your cornerbacks and your safeties can play more aggressive. They can come up to the line of scrimmage and be prepared for the run. And in addition to that, it allows your defensive linemen to really get after the run. And that's what you're seeing here. So they're going to stack the box and see what Iowa State is made of.
They go to Bibbs, touchdown, E.J. Bibbs. The all Big 12 tight end gets the Cyclones on the board.
You see it here. This guy is just a man. It's just the slant route. He's got Adrian Colbert on him. And right there, Adrian Colbert setting his feet outside, and E.J. Bibbs doing a nice job of beating one-on-one coverage. And the matchup to follow tonight, Vance Bedford said it. This guy is a matchup nightmare. How do you cover him? There you saw Adrian Colbert with his try, but I have a feeling this Texas defense may have to mix it up.
Cole Netton makes it 14-7. E.J. Bibbs showing why many think he's going to be playing on Sundays next year. Bevo enjoying the nice weather here in Austin, Texas. Cool little breeze. Texas leading Iowa State 14-7. Longhorns got out to a 14-0 lead. Iowa State, after a couple shaky possessions, really put one together there last drive, and it finishes off with E.J. Bibbs in the end zone. Pretty impressive drive, Ahmad.
Yeah, and Richardson was really operating at the line of scrimmage. He's getting his team in and out of plays, and Iowa State went to an up-tempo offense. What it did was it forced the Texas defenders to stay on the football field, and you really saw Iowa State take it to them as they were wearing them down, and they weren't giving them a lot of time to get into their play call and to find their assignments. They'll have to do a good job, Texas will, with their communication to prevent them from really having their way with this up-tempo.
Netton kicks off. This is going to be Roderick Bernard, the freshman, tripped up. Bernard thought he may have had an alley. The Texas offensive line has seen many different units go out there. They've had their fair share of injuries, also some dismissals. Here is week one against North Texas. Kennedy Estelle, who is no longer with the program. Ced Flowers, he's still there. Dom Espinoza is gone. Jake Rollerson stepped in. Taylor Doyle said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and replace Jake Rollerson at some point. That would be after the Baylor week. You see Kent Perkins, Darius James. James really one of the keys at right tackle. Doyle and James have been really the solidifying factor. If you talk to the Texas coaches, they say Taylor Doyle has been an anchor up the middle. They've been able to run because of that, as Malcolm Brown with the run. Luke Knott, number 21, makes the tackle. There's Dom Espinoza, the senior center for Texas. 31 combined starts for Texas. He had 40 straight. That's combined against one player.
Wow. Yeah, that was a big loss, and Dom, I know the senior is really chomping at the bit to get back out on the football field.
He's been helping out the young centers like Doyle. Give to Malcolm Brown, fighting. Jordan Brackens ends up making the tackle, the 6'1", 213-pound senior, but he ran into another 200-pounder, Malcolm Brown. Where's his pad level been the last couple weeks? Charlie Strong had talked about Gray and Brown running a little lower.
I thought he's been very aggressive, particularly versus Oklahoma. You saw him early on in the ball game. He was bruising backers and DBs, and that's when Malcolm Brown is most effective.
Third down and 1. Texas will go in the shotgun. They're going to hand it off to Jonathan Gray. Wiggles his way for a first down. Kenneth Lynn was there on the stop. Gray coming back from an Achilles injury that he had last year at West Virginia. Had a really impressive comeback, although didn't really seem to look the same in the first couple games with that burst. First down and 10. Luke's going to go ahead and tuck it. Well, Tyrone Swoops knows how to start hot. He's done that early on throughout his career. BYU started 10 of 11. UCLA 11 of 11. How about tonight? 7 for 7 after starting 8 for 10 against the Sooners last week.
And most of these plays are scripted, so the offensive coordinator, Sean Watson, doing a very good job of getting him into plays that he's comfortable with. Quick passes, short passing game is something that this kid really likes early on in the ball game.
Go, go, go!
Into Malcolm Brown. Brown trying to get his balance. He does, and he runs over a Cyclone all the way to the 45. Malcolm Brown.
Wow, what a cut. I mean, this was a one cut. You'll see him here. Watch this offensive line as they're all moving to the right. When he decides to go downhill, Malcolm Brown doing a nice job of making himself skinny, getting in a hole. Watch one more look. Boom, the burst to get up, the acceleration, really getting to the second level of the defense, and then from there finishing off the run.
Good for 17 yards. He's averaging 8 a clip tonight. Shipley in motion, play action. Swoops, looking deep, looking for his man John Harris. He got it! Working on Nigel Tribune. And the Horns are attacking 34 again.
You'll see it here. John Harris just beating man-to-man coverage. A nice job of throwing his head outside, getting the DB, Nigel Tribune, to close off his hips. That is the most dangerous position for a DB to be there. Now he's got a speed turn, get back over the top. By that time, the ball's gone. John Harris now has an edge and a space. So that's one of those plays where John Harris loves beating one-on-one coverage, and he's doing it again today.
Go back to the air, another play action. Swoops gonna roll right, gonna throw, and it's intercepted. Tribune's got it. Nigel Tribune was just waiting for it, and a big mistake for Tyrone Swoops. Well, the hot start cools off a little bit.
It does. And this is the good and the bad with Tyrone Swoops. He's still gaining confidence in being outside the pocket here. He's made that throw a couple times this year, and now it becomes a risk for him because you can't make that or complete that throw every time. The defense knows he's got a strong arm. That time on the move, throwing across his body, it's ill-advised. That's not something that coaches teach. But when you do it one time, you come back and think maybe you can get away with it again.
Interesting. Another red zone turnover for this Texas offense. McNeely looking for room. Boy, Malcolm Brown shot in there, had a chance to tackle him for a loss. Said Reed will end up making the play, but it is a gain.
You said it. I mean, he just completely blew by the center there. Malcolm Brown, 7 yards deep in the backfield when he touched the running back. He's an explosive player.
And having a monster 2014 year, the junior from Brenham. 2nd and 7. Little confusion. Richardson has time. He's going to let it go. Got his man. Lazard can't hang on. Michael Thompson was beat, but the ball hung up there just a little bit too much.
Yeah. This is just max protect. They keep everybody in, meaning there's only one route, and it's this guy right here. It's a one-on-one matchup with Michael Thompson. And there you see it. Just an excellent job of timing that ball. He looked back just in the nick of time to find the wide receiver, and then the awareness to rake. Perfect timing.
Texas mugging. They're not coming, though. Richardson will check down to Neely. That's not going to do it. DeMarco Cobbs, the senior, came up to hit him.
Texas won this series on 1st and 2nd down, making the plays that they needed to and giving themselves a chance on 3rd down to come up and make a tackle.
That's going to do it for the first quarter. Texas got out to a 14-0 lead. John Harris been making some big plays. Nigel Tribune says, I got you, John.
You're watching
Nothing better than SRV on a Saturday night. Little Stevie Ray Vaughan, little college football. Stevie in Austin.
Does sound good, doesn't it?
Legend, man. Yes, it does. Nothing like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Texas leading Iowa State 14-7 here. Started the second quarter. Kevin Dunn, Ahmad Brooks, Jane Slater down on the field. Iowa State setting up to punt. This will be Colin Downing punting to Jackson Shipley. Shipley going to give a fair catch. It kind of drifted out of bounds, and this will be great field position for Texas. They're trying to clean up some offensive issues that really have been in the red zone, Ahmad. That's where you want to get down and just punch it in.
Yeah, that's the second fumble of the year right there on the one. Then you see Oklahoma last week. Swoops and Taylor Doyle just weren't on the same page. And then you see tonight, once again, Swoops trying to make a play with his feet, throws it right into the hands of an Iowa State defender. And now he comes back out, and as a young quarterback, you just want to make sure that you can leave that behind you. Now you've got to come back out here and start back to work.
Harris in motion. They're going to pitch it to him. John looking for the corner. He's going to run a cyclone over. Ball's on the ground. Iowa State's got it. It's 55. Jevin Miller. Miller to the end zone. Touchdown, Cyclones. They're ruling it a fumble on the field, and Paul Rhodes ecstatic. Jevin Miller, the man who moved to middle linebacker, and it's been a great move for him, Ahmad.
Yeah, and these aren't the typical touches that you see from John Harris, but that ball is clearly out. It hits the ground in favor of Iowa State. John Harris, he runs so hard, and he's always trying to get yards after contact. That time they're not working in his favor, as the Iowa State defenders have probably watched film and thought to themselves, this kid runs really hard. He's going to give us an opportunity to rake one of these out of here.
Ran over Jordan Brackens, the nickelback, number 14, as Texas just talked about miscues with another one. This one was not in the red zone, but it ends up an Iowa State touchdown. Jevin Miller with the pickup, takes it all the way back to the house.
Since
John Harris, who was just trying to get some extra yards, but fumbles, and Jevin Miller, number 55, picked it up. 6'1", 241-pound senior. TJ Mutcherson, number 22, was a safety who came over. He's one of their best hitters. And Ahmad, you were a safety who also tackled a lot, had 88 tackles your senior season. It's nice when you have those guys come up, and he caused the fumble.
He's really a great lid for this defense. He runs proper angles when he's at the top of that defense, and when he gets there, he knows the proper time to break down and make the tackle.
Texas, it's Robert Bernard who bobbles it, picks it back up. Still up, ends up being tackled. Ends up being tackled by the kicker, Cole Metten. This season, Texas has had 3 offensive turnovers that have gone for 6. With their defense, that's the last thing you can do. And started with Baylor as we take a look back at what happened tonight. Nigel Tribune with a pick, and John Harris. I asked you during the break, is that the guy you run that play with?
And no, it's either Armani Foreman, Jay Johnson, but I think John Harris has played so well, he's earned the right to get touches in other ways.
Kind of like a heat check in basketball as Malcolm Brown nowhere to go. Big play right there by Trent Taylor. Here's what Texas has done and where they've started with their drive. Started very well with 2 touchdowns and an interception, and then the fumble. Is 14 all here in Austin. Both teams at 2-4. Iowa State 0-3 in Big 12 play. Texas does have a win in Big 12 play. Swoops looking for Harris. He's got it. A penalty flag is down, usually in the area of holding, as Harris was tackled by TJ Mutcherson.
Might have even been a chop block there.
Holding 71 of the offense. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. Second down.
Well, Ahmad, you mentioned Cameron Hughes and what he had done at right tackle. Hadn't got a lot of time. Looked good on the touchdown run. Mistake here.
Yeah, you'll see him here at the bottom of your screen. This is him right here. Watch him. This is what they're referring to. It looked more like a chop to me, but I guess, well, that was a holding.
Or a tackle.
You get that back arm behind that leg. That's certainly a holding. The young man trying to hold his own here, literally. But he's a young player that's getting some reps tonight. More penalties for Texas, too.
Yeah, 11 penalties against Oklahoma last week. Swoops, looking downfield, almost intercepted. A bobbling effort by Kamari Cotton-Moya, the free safety. Had a couple chances at it, but the Iowa State coaches really like both safeties. We've seen Mutcherson, now we see Cotton-Moya.
Yeah, well, he got a little help here. This ball was just underthrown from Tyrone Swoops, and frankly, I'm not sure how the DB didn't come up with the interception there. Texas is awfully lucky because the field position could have drastically changed with it being down here inside of their 10.
Feel the momentum shifting here at DKR. 3rd down and 21. Johnson and Shipley split out up top. Plenty of time for Swoops, gets rid of it. It's going to be short as he finds Shipley, knocked out by Sam E. Richardson. So Texas, after first 2 drives where they go down and score, a couple turnovers, and now a 3-and-out. Will Russell come on for the first time today? Marcus West is back. We have not seen him much. We're going to get a chance to see him. He's the most explosive player when healthy, but Adrian Colbert was waiting for him. No room for West. We're tied at 14 here in Austin. We're tied at 14, 13 minutes to go here in the first half. You see the guys right there, a couple legends. No, I'm not talking about Lo Galindo. Ricky Williams, Vince Young in the house. Also David Thomas. I'm going to put David Thomas on the card. They won a national championship. Best tight end probably in school history. Texas Game Day halftime presented by HEB coming up at the half. And then Game Day crew will be back after the game. Make sure you don't turn it anywhere as Texas Game Day final. Powered by the all-new Chevy Silverado. They're going to have interviews, analysis. We're glad to have you up here in the booth. You got to take a little week off from your Texas Game Day, Ahmad.
I miss my guys, but I love being up here calling the action.
It's been a fun one so far. Iowa State with the ball. Richardson in the air again. Is going to overshoot his tight end, E.J. Bibbs, a little bit. Bibbs trying to get to the NFL. These two guys played in the league. You see what Vince Young did. Of course, 2005 national champ, Maxwell Award winner. Probably should have won the Heisman. Is that fair?
Absolutely. 2 of college football's best right there.
Ricky did win the Heisman in '98. That was Mack Brown's first year. Mack had some help with a guy like Ricky. Charlie Strong looking for someone to help him in his first year. Michael Thompson dealing with Bibbs, and that's a tough matchup, Ahmad, for any defensive back, a guy that size with that speed.
Yeah, this time he's lined up at wide receiver, and he just bull rushes Michael Thompson to get to the sticks, turns around, and now you can see him using that frame as he's just posting up players.
Oh, Richardson and Wimberly run into each other. Busted play. This Texas defensive line does not need any help getting in the backfield, and Iowa State just gave him a little push. All Rhodes. He loves ball control. Being a defensive guy, both these coaches do. Richardson across the middle, wide open. He's got his man. Number 18, Javon Wesley. 5'11" freshman, and that was wide open.
Yeah, I'm afraid this was blown coverage. As you'll see here, he just runs right in between 2 defenders, 2 guys that weren't even paying attention, and he gets him behind, really forcing that backside safety, Dylan Haynes, in a really, really bad spot.
Haynes ends up making the tackle. Back to the ground, Wimberly was tripped up by Malcolm Brown. 40, Nashawn Hughes, a freshman, came on to make the play. Hughes, number 40, an interesting guy. They've kind of moved him to that position because they had him at weak side linebacker, but as Charlie Strong said yesterday, you don't play that position in the Big 12. So they're getting him on the field. Pressure from Texas as Edmond comes. They go back to Bibbs, and Haynes wrestles him to the ground. Dylan Haynes, his dad, actually played here for Texas and played with Vance Bedford, the Texas DC.
Yeah, Bibbs is really starting to work the middle of the field now. Dylan Haynes has been on him, but this is a matchup nightmare. You heard Vance Bedford talk about it, and you better believe that Sam Richardson is going to be looking for his tight end on 3rd down inside the red zone. He's looking for the big fella as you see him lined up right here in the slot. Keep your eyes on that young man.
And Lazard is up top. He's also a big threat. Big 3rd down. Richardson's going to go to Lazard on a fade. Did he get it? Touchdown, Allen Lazard.
So you just see Michael Thompson. He's taught to be underneath there at the goal line. He's in the right position, but give Sam Richardson some credit here. Beautifully thrown ball in the back of the end zone. He's taught to put that on the pylon. It was nearly there as Texas. Just too much there. A great throw, a better catch. He keeps his feet in bounds, and now Iowa State with the lead of this ball game.
The highest ranked recruit in the Paul Rhodes era at Iowa State. Cole Netton. It's up and it's good. 7 plays, 67-yard drive. It ate up 207, and it gave Iowa State their first lead of the game. 21-14 Cyclones.
Turn down for what?
You're watching. Texas crowd stunned here as Iowa State has scored 21 unanswered. They lead Texas 21-14 after the Allen Lazard touchdown catch. 8-yard touchdown catch from Sam Richardson. Fade route and beautifully thrown ball to give Iowa State the lead. Roderick Bernard, Adrian Colbert will be back. Receive Cole Netton's kick. Boy, momentum has turned quickly here in Austin. Should be returnable. And here comes Bernard. Bernard's got big-time speed. Couple moves and all the way up to the 28. And Cole Netton makes his 2nd tackle for Iowa State, but not after the Cyclones took the lead.
Yeah, and this is just a 3-man rush. You see 3 guys that are going to rush. You've got a nickel back here and a safety. And this is blown coverage between one of these 2 guys because they're covering grass. And you never do that in zone. Somebody's got to carry underneath that to prevent Dylan Haynes from being in a bad spot. And then they finish it off with an excellently thrown ball in the back of the end zone, and it goes for 6.
Big drive for Texas here. Play action, a waggle out. Gets it. Malcolm Brown, big-time block by Jeff Swaim right in front of the Texas bench, and it fires them up. Well, also on the sideline is our Jane Slater. Jane?
Hey, if there's one guy that Vance Bedford and his guys could use on defense today, it's true freshman safety Jason Hall. Jason Hall went down with a patellar tendon injury against OU, got the start against Kansas September 27th, then ended up getting starts against Baylor and OU. Not seeing him today. Instead, you're going to see Colbert and Turner taking some turns there, but they really got their hands full as this Iowa State offense is really beginning to find its rhythm. Guys?
Jane, thank you very much. As Jackson Shipley makes the catch, Jordan Brackens makes the stop. You know, Jason Hall, as Coach Strong calls him, Pretty Boy Hall from Grand Prairie. I think people, if you think about one moment for Texas this year, that tackle he made on Samaje Perine, that shows you what kind of ball player Jason Hall is and what they're missing.
He plays physical, he plays tough. I love the way he runs to the football, and he certainly doesn't play like a freshman. And when you watch him on film, he just stands out.
2nd down and 4. Pitch to Jonathan Gray. He's got Marcus Hutchins and Doyle in front of him. 1st down as he's tackled by Mutcherson.
That was a nice job of the offensive lineman. As you said, Doyle getting out in front, pulling from that center position. And Jonathan Gray really using his excellent vision, getting in the right crease, and picking up positive yardage for his team.
Texas has been moving the football for the most part outside of their last possession, but Couple costly turnovers. In Iowa State area now. Play action. Swoops. Looking for the home run. Marcus Johnson overshoots him. He knew he had that one.
This is just one-on-one once again. Marcus Johnson running that post. And they call it a post for a reason. His landmark is to run towards the goalpost. And that time there, Swoops knowing that he's got to be able to throw that out in front of the wide receiver. Marcus Johnson has the wheels to throw it on the opposite hash of the field for him to go get it.
State's still trying to figure out what they're doing defensively. Texas snaps it, and Jonathan Gray takes advantage of it. Tackle made by Luke Knott, the younger brother of former All-Big 12 linebacker Jake Knott, who played for Iowa State. Probably recognize that name. Luke a lot smaller than his older brother, but carries the same type of passion. 3rd down and 3. This is the third down for Texas. 1 for 2 so far.
Yeah, but it's manageable. And Sean Watson yesterday said the way we get our 3rd down percentage up is we make sure we chip away at the sticks on 1st and 2nd down, and they've done that.
Not good news for Texas there. Just see Ridgeway walking off. Marcus Johnson, he's got it. Manageable for sure. Iowa State having to play the run, and the slant was open. It's got to go back to Ridgeway because Desmond Jackson, the senior nose tackle, kind of played that zero technique. He has been out for the year with the injury, and now Hassan Ridgeway, who's done such a good job of taking that position and really working with Malcolm Brown. They can't afford to lose him, maybe.
Yeah, he's just a bunch of muscle there in the middle, and he's a hard man to move, and that will be a loss if he's gone.
Iowa State bringing pressure. Tyrone Swoops is going to tuck it. Makes one guy miss, makes another miss, and not exactly Vince Young, but he gets the job done as Jevin Miller knocks him out.
Yeah, this is the second play this series that you've seen Tyrone buy time with his feet. First one on a scramble to Shipley, and then he comes back here. Nice hop cut.
I know.
The big boy. And he's not known for moves like that, but I've always said it. I think Tyrone Swoops is a much better athlete when he's on the move. And this Texas staff has really bought into that. They're creating more design runs, and they're telling him, Tyrone, if you see a crease, run, my man, run.
They told him to be more decisive with that. Corey Strong has said, you can run guys over, do it. 2nd and 4, gonna fake the pitch. Bootleg, he's got his man John Harris, and big-time collision. Boy, T.J. Mutcherson, they said he may be the hardest hitter. He has shown that today, but John Harris is a pretty big boy himself.
Yeah, and I love this play. They bring John Harris from the backside, and watch the boom here. Oh, and that's a big wide receiver. Mutcherson, I mean, certainly bringing his big boy pass to that meeting.
He's a great story. He is a community college kid, 22-year-old sophomore. 1st down and goal. Let's see if Texas can punch it in. They've had issues in the red zone. Swoops going to take it himself. No problems this time. Touchdown, Texas. Tyrone Swoops.
And this was a great job of blocking all the way down to Cameron Hughes, Jeff Swain. And you'll see it here. They really create a crease here. Delatorre, it starts with the fullback. He gets his man. Swain gets to the 2nd level. John Harris out working hard. Cameron Hughes getting to the 2nd level. That was perfected by blocking. That is why Swoops went in untouched, much like we saw at the play versus Oklahoma last week, but to the opposite side.
8 plays, 63 yards, 405, and Nick Rose ties it up at 21. After 21 unanswered by Iowa State, Texas able to answer, and it was the Tyrone Swoops drive. He finishes it off with his feet.
Get a large.
Let's go back to 1998. Ricky Williams running all over Iowa State. He ran over everyone that year. No shame for the Cyclones, but Ricky, it seemed as if he was picking up 10 a clip in that game, and almost averaged that. Ricky Williams with a unbelievable effort. 350 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns. A shootout in that game. Kind of looks like what we're getting in this game. Ricky and the guys will have the Texas Game Day halftime report presented by HEB. First half highlights.
Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky. Also Vince Young and David Thomas and the always smooth Lowell Galindo.
Yeah, one of the funnest moments of my life was being a part of that season. And I watched a lot from the sideline, but I had some really good seats being a freshman, watching Ricky Williams run his way and rush his way right into history. That was a fun season.
You know, he was winning against Rice the week before that and had 6 touchdowns. I mean, that whole year was video game-esque as Rose shows the big leg. Wimberly can't do anything with that. So Sam Richardson will come back out now, and hoping to do what they've done lately. First 2 drives did not look good. 9 plays, 16 yards. Since then, 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. And we've seen Richardson doing it with his legs and his arm.
And one thing they've done is they've gone up-tempo, which really limits this Texas defense in terms of making substitutions, but also getting aligned properly and on time. So you want to make sure you follow that if you're at home, because Richardson is really doing a great job right now of operating the offense.
Martinez, Syria. Really not too many big backs on this team. Wimberly's 177, Neely's 189, and Syria's at 205. He's their big guy. He's a freshman from the state of Texas. Happy to be back home here. 25 Cyclones are from the state of Texas. That's knocked and almost intercepted by Duke Thomas.
It's an excellent job by Nashawn Hughes reading, but also Jordan Hicks, who I believe was the one with the pass batted down here. Watch Jordan Hicks. He's right in the middle of your screen. Great awareness there from number 3, reading the quarterback's eyes in the perfect position. And had he not, Nashawn Hughes might have had a chance on the play regardless.
Beat me to the punch, brother. You're exactly right. I think he would have had it. Richardson overshoots his man on 3rd down and 7. A big stop for Texas after Iowa State had built some pretty good momentum offensively. That was intended for Lazard. Lazard can go up and get it, just not that high.
Lazard can, and that time, you heard Bryce Petty 2 weeks ago talk about this Texas defense and the myriad of looks that they give you. That time there, they got 6 on the line of scrimmage. They only rush 4. They drop 2 back, and those looks really confuse a quarterback. It either forces him to get it out his hand quickly or make a wrong decision. And so I think right now what Texas is doing is they're trying to confuse Richardson as much as possible.
Downey, pretty good punt here. Shipley will take it, and great coverage from Iowa State as they were down there. Brackens was there to make a play. But we've seen some good, seen some bad swoops, and it's him on the run, though. That's the key, Ahmad.
Yeah, I like him moving here, but here's the balance. Sean Watson said, we don't want to kill this guy's creativity. That is a creative play that he's made before for Texas. The catch is knowing when to do it. The best players here, i.e. Vince Young, they knew when to take off and run. They knew when to sit in that pocket and pick teams apart. That's where he's really learning to grow.
14 of 17 tonight, does have that big interception, and airmails that one to Marcus Johnson. You've been surprised at, we've covered a lot of practices the last couple of years. You've been surprised at him throwing the football and his touch and really how he's been able to throw it?
He's definitely developed as a passer from day one coming on the campus, and you've got to give Sean Watson credit, but also Swoops for listening. And one thing that I love about Swoops is he's a very coachable player. He's quick to learn. You can put something on his plate, and he's going to work hard to make sure he gets it right.
2nd down and 10. Iowa State bringing pressure. Swoops lets it go, and it hits Marcus Johnson in the feet. Caught his left foot. And Ahmad, there was a chance there because Iowa State was bringing the house, and those corners were locked up.
They brought a 5-man blitz, and this is where you've got a young wide receiver and a young quarterback. Tyrone Swoops made the right read. He's got to get that ball out as quickly as possible. And for Pete's sakes, it hits Marcus Johnson in the feet. It's on location. It's on target. He's got to do a better job of turning around and making himself available for his quarterback in those types of situations.
Talk about 3rd and manageable. This does not qualify. 3rd down and 10. Trips to the left side. Swoops having issues. Finally gets it under pressure, and down he goes. Corey Morrissey, the man for Iowa State on the defensive line.
Yeah, and you'll see it here. This is just a 3-man rush. And unfortunately, up at the top, number 65 for Texas just gets beat. Marcus Hutchins with a nice spin move there. It's only a 3-man rush, and when you've got 5 blockers and you allow a 3-man rush to get to your quarterback, that's something that'll drive Joe Wickline, the offensive coach and offensive line coach for Texas, crazy.
Well, he is a captain. Aaron Wimberly and Iowa State will take over now at the 38. Let's go back to Iowa State and how they scored. E.J. Bibbs starts it off.
Yeah, he's dangerous across the middle of the field, and there John Harris trying to do a little bit too much. House call. Defense turns that into points. And those are the plays that you don't want to make. At least get your defense out there. And then a beautifully thrown ball. There's great coverage there by Michael Thompson. Not a lot he can do when the ball's thrown in that location.
Iowa State to start at their own 39. Richardson play action. Gonna throw back. He's got his man. Neely is tackled by DeMarco Cobbs and also Quandre Diggs. Cobbs, the senior, getting some action as a backup. Diggs, obviously, a huge part of this Texas defense this year. 2nd down and 2. Pressure. But Neely able to work his way for a 1st down. Devondrick Neely. Adrian Colbert came up to make the stop. Colbert, one of those guys filling in and getting more playing time, as Jane talked about, like Josh Turner, because Jason Hall is out for this game. Quick throw. And a nice job by Texas getting to DeVario Montgomery quickly. It was Colbert again. Even had a big boy, Poona Ford, the defensive tackle, the freshman who was getting over there.
Young freshman that they like. They love his energy. And he's starting to get increased reps.
15 yards from the previous spot. 1st down.
Well, this is going to be a penalty on Jake Gannon. And this really hurts. It has to irk Paul Rhodes. Gannon's a really good story. He's a big guy who had some anxiety issues, really had a panic attack during practice and just blew up. He's been taking medication. He quit the team and has since come back and has been talking about his issues and trying to help out young people. He's from Iowa City, so you take a look at Gannon, 6'7", 306 pounds, but a panic attack on the practice field. They went to get him help. He had quit the team. He thought he didn't love football anymore. He realized it's not that at all.
Great story.
It is a great story, and now he's back and helping out this offensive line. A very smart offensive line. 3 engineering majors. That's a completion. Another quick throw. It's Dondre Daly, 6'2", 190-pound redshirt sophomore.
You've heard me talk about the tempo this offense is playing with, but Sam Richardson is really getting that ball out of his hand in a timely manner and fashion.
Neely. Seeing more of Neely than Wimberly. We expected that. Wimberly hasn't been his best senior year, but also is coming off an ankle injury. He really got the start last week. Another quick throw, almost intercepted. Michael Thompson, there was no Cyclone in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and that time Dylan Haynes here just gets mixed up. You'll see it. They're going man-to-man out there, and that was a rub route intended for the wide receiver for Iowa State to rub off Dylan Haynes, but Dylan Haynes took the proper angle and disrupted that route with his position.
3rd down and 4. Crowd getting into it. Bibbs in motion. Intercepted! Dylan Haynes! He's got a man to beat! He beats Richardson! Cuts it back! Dylan Haynes! Touchdown, Texas! Ahmad, we've seen them working on the flats. They went one too many times.
Well, at that time there, Richardson went to a favorable matchup. Bibbs on Dylan Haynes. And the story on Dylan Haynes is, I was talking to Quandre Diggs, and he said this guy originally started out playing cornerback, and he's picking everything off in scout team. So the coaches finally said, well, let's throw him back at safety. We're a little thin back there. and he kept doing it. You saw him with a pick versus North Texas, but this one, the biggest play of his career as he goes house call. He flat out read the play. He knew it was coming, undercut Bibbs, and the rest is history. You see Bibbs in motion. That tells Richardson right there they're in man-to-man situations. But the jump by Dylan Haynes, to know the awareness, to know where the sticks were at, to know what the offense was trying to do to him. And now that's all split-second decisions. And then the young man with a nice move there on Richardson to take it to the house. He looks a little winded there. But big boy, you talk about a defensive play to change momentum. If Iowa State gets points, as a Texas defense, you've got to challenge yourself to go back out and put points on the board, and Texas defense did that.
Dylan Haynes doing work for his defensive coordinator, Vance Bedford. Vance Bedford was a defensive back here at Texas with Dylan's dad, Les Koenig. The Texas wide receiver coach was on that team. Oh, how happy are they right now that they got one of their ex-teammates' son to walk onto this team. That's the Texas first turnover force in the last 3 games.
And that was a boost of energy there with this Texas stadium. Now you've got fans off their seats, cheering, yelling. And if you're this Texas defense, come back out and make another big play as you go into halftime. It'd be nice to have some serious momentum coming back, especially with the struggles they've had in the third quarter.
I've felt Uncle Mo go back and forth in this game. That is going to be a touchback, and what a wild first half we've had. Texas jumps out to the 14-0 lead. Iowa State. This team does not quit. We've seen them with deficits so far this year, and they seemingly always come back, whether they win or lose. They've come back, but Texas, what a big play right there defensively. You felt like the defense needed to make a play, and it happened.
Those could change the course of your season. When a defense gets something on the other side of the ball and you come back out in that fight that we're talking about and that heart that Texas has displayed the last several weeks, those are positive signs. And so for this coaching staff and this team, as this defense trots back out here, they know that they've got to make those types of plays to give Texas a chance to win this ball game.
Think about last year, Chris Whaley, that pick against Oklahoma. That was a definitive moment for the Texas defense. Richardson back in the air, back to Lazard. Alan Lazard, a good-looking young freshman, big 6'5" receiver. We mentioned a lot of teams in the country wanted that young man. Good for 22 yards. Back to Lazard. Quandre Diggs. Well, if you're Quandre's side, he's listed at 5'10". Listed at 5'10".
Yeah.
You got 6'5" Lazard. You got to get low, right?
Yeah, but he plays big. And Quandre is not scared. He's a thumper. He plays very physical football. I love his style of play.
Coming up on 2 minutes, 2nd down and 4. Bibbs in motion. 4-man rush. Going to look for his big tight end. He's got him for a first down. Santos and Hicks on the tackle.
That time there it appeared to be a bracket, meaning 2-on-1 versus Bibbs, but he's so savvy and smart with great awareness. He just sits on the sticks inside the zone, and Richardson, knowing it was coming, was able to get it there on time.
First-year offensive coordinator Mark Mangino getting his big tight end involved as Wimberly fight for some yards. Is tackled by Hassan Ridgeway. That is good news for Texas fans to see him back in this game after leaving for a little while.
Yeah, the young man has 4 tackles for losses, 3 sacks on the season. They need him out.
Iowa State's going to take their first time out with 1:38 here. Paul Rhodes and his staff are going to talk it over. You know, we talked about Mark Mangino a little bit. Mark Mangino did such a great job at Kansas. I mean, who would have thought Kansas would have won an Orange Bowl? Some off-the-field issues, obviously, with the players and all that, but pretty surprising that he was fired from Kansas. Now, Paul Rhodes said, talked to him in Big 12 Media Days in Dallas. He said, how could I not jump on that? You know, I mean, it's a huge edge and advantage for our team to have an offensive mind like this. And the players knew that. They knew who this guy was.
My experience with Mangino starts when he was at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And they come out running that spread, and they ran it to perfection.
You played against him.
Yes, indeed.
Right?
And so he does a great job of spreading guys out. He likes to go 2 by 2, wear the defense out, make them thin in the middle of the defense in order for you to run. But also the quick passing game has been a staple throughout his years as a play caller, and he's done that again tonight.
Texas fight. Being yelled by the crowd, trying to fire up this defense. 2nd and 7. That's through the hands. Texas not able to jump on it. Sam threw a fastball there. Big 3rd down and 7. You bringing pressure if you're Texas?
I think you drop back in coverage here. 3rd and 7 is a pretty safe distance, but Vance Bedford does like to bring the heat in 3rd and 7 situations. It's just a 4-man rush.
You called it. They stay back. Lazard able to make the catch and then leap. Already had the 1st down, but Lazard putting on a show, the true freshman.
And give Lazard credit there. I mean, he just comes underneath coverage. He finds the spacing. Great catch. The ball was thrown a tad bit high. He hauls it in. But that's fine awareness on the part of the wide receiver.
Give up the middle. No, actually, it's Richardson. He faked everyone out. But both were open. That's the problem.
Yeah, this was a great play fake. You see them here. They've been handing it off, and now all of a sudden Richardson wide open. Great job there by Michael Thompson of fighting off the block, forcing him inside and making the tackle.
1 minute to go. Looking for Bibbs. May have been a break for Iowa State. Michael Thompson was waiting for him. E.J. Bibbs. Todd McShay thinks he is one of the top 5 tight ends, and Sam Richardson has been taking advantage of him all year long, and so far tonight. Let's see if he goes back to him. He will. Bibbs so hard, just fighting for yards. Ced Reed, Jordan Hicks. Now Steve Edmond trying to help out Michael Thompson. Oh my Lord, E.J. Bibbs. He's a load to bring down.
Yeah, that's just that stack look. It's really difficult there to defend it, but usually what you have to do is the 2 guys that are stacked, you just make sure both defenders are, one's outside, one's inside, and you're reading the first guy wherever he commits. If he goes outside, that's where your matchups start. But they do that to hide Bibbs. You see the success he's already had tonight. 5 receptions, 43 yards, averaging nearly 9 yards a pop and a touchdown. He's a big-time playmaker. He's a game changer. And this offense looks to get the ball in his hands.
He injured his meniscus a week before the season, did E.J. Was slowed early on, really didn't look like himself, but he has come on and looks healthy, as we've seen tonight. He's a JUCO kid who's already a captain. And the coaches said, if you're a JUCO kid, and even though you're a senior, you're a captain, the guys really respect him. They respect his work ethic and obviously his athleticism. 3rd down and 1. Option. Richardson will keep it himself, and he's got the 1st down. Jordan Hicks with the stop.
And that's a rare play call that you run the speed option into the boundary. But what it does force the quarterback to do is to make a quick decision. Richardson there making the right decision by going forward to get the 1st down.
Give to Wimberly. And big Puna Ford, number 95, a true freshman for Texas, on the stop.
That was a great job of shedding the block, a nice swim move over the top, and then finishing it with a tackle.
Ford is from Hilton Head, South Carolina. 2nd and goal. Richardson knocked down. We've seen a couple of batted down passes. Shiro Davis was in there.
I believe Paul Boyette Jr. gets his hands on it here. And this is what happens when you start throwing the quick game. Defensive linemen now become aware. They know it's coming out. So instead of them charging and rushing, they're looking to put their hands up and close some of those passing windows. That time, a nice job there by Paul Boyette.
That was the number 2 Texas defensive line, too. You had Boyette, you had Shiro Davis, Puna Ford, able to get the job done. First team is back in. 3rd down and goal. Richardson being chased by Ridgeway. He's going to take off. Can he get there? He does. Touchdown, Cyclones.
Yeah, and you just see the ability of Sam Richardson here. Hassan Ridgeway giving everything he's got. But a nice job there by Richardson, knowing where it was at, getting to the space that he needed to. But the fact that he kept his eyes downfield, that really froze Jordan Hicks, who was in coverage, and the rest of the guys in coverage, which gave him the spacing he needed to get to the pylon.
Richardson showing the dual threat weapon that he is. It's been a crazy game so far, 28 all, back and forth. Why not? It's been a crazy day in the Big 12. Kansas State took out Oklahoma 31-30. Oklahoma had issues with the kicking game. Michael Honeycutt missed a 19-yarder. Also had a blocked PAT, which is how we got to 31-30. In West Virginia, man, they just took it to Baylor, and Baylor's had a couple issues the last couple weeks.
Yeah, the two shocking things here are West Virginia's offensive production and TCU's offensive production. Both of those teams at the beginning of the schedule, or at the beginning of the year, looking like you could have circled them as wins for some teams, but you see now the Big 12 has so much parity. And what I love about this conference is even though some people doubted it, you've got teams like Oklahoma State, TCU, West Virginia, Kansas State, all doing their part to make sure that this conference is still looked upon as one of the strongest conferences in the country.
Texas Game Day crew will talk more Big 12 coming up at the half. 3 seconds to go. We're going to see a squib, but they're going to let it go all the way back to Bernard. Roderick will be knocked out of bounds, and that's going to be our first half. Well, when you think Big 12, you think points. Even though we got two head coaches who are defensive minds, we've got a 28-28 tie. Paul Rhodes with a smile on his face. Texas will get the ball, as they have the option to receive the second half kickoff. And we'll see what kind of adjustments Texas can make. Third quarter has not been their best quarter. Let's go down to the field. Jane Slater's with Charlie Strong.
All right, Coach, we saw this team start off the first half. Offense was on fire, defense with a 3-and-out. Then it lost its rhythm before Tyrone Swoops ended up in the end zone. He had the monster pick 6. How do you make sure that this team sustains that resiliency and persistence through the second half?
Well, you still got to have to go play, so we just got to get back to work and to make sure we make the adjustments and we go play.
Third quarter struggles well documented. What's your message to this team heading into the locker room?
Well, it's tied up, so we have to go play. Got to make plays.
Coach, I appreciate it. Guys, back to you.
Jane, thank you very much. Charlie Strong, obviously looking for some more points for Texas. He got some from the defense. Dylan Haynes all the way. After the break, we'll go to Lo Galindo and the Game Day crew for Texas Game Day Halftime, brought to you by H-E-B. Welcome back to the second half. Texas football. Iowa State and the Horns tied at 28 for H-E-B first half stats. Pretty darn close overall, as take a look at the quarterback comparison. Tyrone Swoops, 227 yards. Sam Richardson, 202 yards. But Iowa State's done a very nice job when they need to, and when they really got the offense going. It was quick passes. They play a little high-low game, and we saw the up-tempo.
Yeah, those were the three things that were really killing them. You saw that Iowa State was having some success getting to the line of scrimmage, forcing the defense to decide rather quickly, and then they started running a high-low game. They're swinging the back out of the backfield and putting slants right in behind his zone, which is forcing that linebacker to either come up and cover the flat or hang in the hook to curl, and that's been a problem for this defense.
And turnovers have been a key. Tyrone Swoops intercepted by Nigel Tribune. And then a great play by T.J. Mutcherson is able to knock it out. Jevin Miller says, I got it. Little scoop and score. 14 straight points. And then Texas able to get back. Dylan Haynes picks off Richardson, makes a cutback, gets a couple blocks, and maybe a little huffing and puffing when he got there.
Yeah, but he got the job done. You know, my brother used to go through the front door to empty the trash, but my parents never cared. You know why?
Because he emptied the trash.
Emptied the trash. So at the end of the day, as long as you get the job done, no complaints on this side.
I like that. I know you weren't taking out the trash.
Of course not, KD.
Kevin Dunn, Ahmad Brooks, Jane Slater down on the field, ready to get this second half underway. We can only hope it'll be as fun as the first half. Roderick Bernard will take a knee. Well, third quarter has been somewhat of a struggle for Texas. You look at what they've done. Rest of the game, they're up 26, negative 35 in the second half. In the third quarter, Ahmad, we talked with the coaches yesterday about the issues, and it seems like the players and the coaches are still trying to search why this has happened.
Exactly. They don't have any answers. And the closest answer that we got was from John Harris and Malcolm Brown saying, hey, maybe we're just playing a little too relaxed. So they want to come out here and start fast in the third quarter.
To be under center. Did not see that very often. MJ McFarland in motion. Going to throw it. He's got his man Jackson Shipley. Nice game. Shipley, the senior. Younger brother of Jordan Shipley. 4 wide receiver set. Shipley and Harris in the slot. Another play action. Throws it behind John Harris. Harris not able to make that one. Well, going back to Shipley, most receptions in Texas history. He is number 4. And oh, he's got a little ways to go to catch number 1, his older brother.
Yeah, he's a streaky wide receiver. When he gets hot, you saw it last week versus Oklahoma. One thing he's really good at is working the middle of the field, and Tyrone Swoops really feels like he's a safety net in that middle of the field.
Here comes pressure. Swoops gonna step up. He's got a lane. Short of the first down, Sam E. Richardson came up to grab him by the ankles. Sam, not the biggest guy in the world. It looked like Tyrone just could have kept on going straight, Ahmad.
Yeah, and this was a blitz. They brought it. 6 men. They come in. He recognizes it. That's one of those tough situations because they bring the blitz in that type of situation to force the quarterback's hand. And what they want him to do is do what he did, run. They keep everything in front of him. Nice, secure tackle. Now they're off the field.
4th and 1. Russ on to punt. This is a big-time kick. Driving Wimberly all the way back inside his own 10. Nahshon Hughes holding on, and he'll make the play. Iowa State will take over. Monday night on Longhorn Network is dedicated to reviewing Texas football's last game. 1st at 9, Coach Strong will review today's game on LHN Rewind. Then at 10, the Lifetime Longhorn analysts chime in. We got Dan Neal, we got David Thomas, and we have myself. Those guys will be talking some ball. That is Longhorn Extra upon further review at 10. Rewind with Charlie Strong, that is on at 9. Both those excellent shows. I'm not saying that because I'm part of one. That's David and Dan.
There you are.
That's David and Dan to do the excellent job. 1st down and 10 for Iowa State. Richardson has his man, Jawan Wesley, and Wesley with another catch. What have you seen from Sam Richardson tonight that you like?
Great command at the line of scrimmage. I love what he's doing here. He's running his offense to perfection. Great timing, and he's also found something in the flat. You can tell that he's working the flat. He's trying to make these defenders decide in zone what to cover.
After being burned by Haynes in the flat, doesn't mind to go back out there. This is E.J. Bibbs, and I think the Texas defense found out in the first half, you better gang tackle 11.
Yeah, you have to, and more in the quick passing game. So they're targeting Bibbs in a number of ways, but this time, just a simple bubble screen, get him out in the flat, get him in space. He's a big body, and that goes for good yardage on 1st down.
Vance Bedford, the Texas defensive coordinator, is a defensive back who picked off Jim Kelly on an ESPN night game at this same stadium. Bibbs again in motion. Going to hand it off to Neely, and not much there. The Texas front was solid. Nahshon Hughes came on to make the tackle.
You said it. A wonderful job of scraping by number 40. And what I mean by that is he's got the outside C gap, but he does a nice job of shifting all the way down to make that play on the backside, even though it went away from him. And scraping means that you stay as tight as you possibly can to prevent that guy from having a cutback, and that's what Nahshon Hughes just did.
It's a good verb for that, because scraping, it sounds like that, and it
Yep.
is. 3rd down and 4. Bibbs will split out. Haynes will cover him. Texas bringing pressure, looking for Bibbs. Now he scrambles away, and Hughes cannot get him. What a job by Sam Richardson to tiptoe for a 1st down. Looked like Hughes had him.
Great play call by Vance Bedford. They bring a 6-man pressure. There's coverage downfield this time. Nahshon Hughes comes inside, and that's the problem there. He prevented from containing Richardson on this particular play. He's got to stay outside, and he would have forced him right back into the meat of the pocket. And that wasn't a great play. And now you see Hughes coming off of the sideline. Looks like there's a right arm injury.
Yeah, it looks like it. He's kind of hanging it. Caleb Blewett and Shiro Davis can come in on that position, but the freshman from Harker Heights really has been coming on. The coaches like what they've seen from 40. First down and 10. Iowa State now 7 for 12 on third downs. Richardson's going to keep it again. The penalty is down. It's usually in the area of holding, and this would really set Iowa State back. This is not an offense. Most can't go 1st and 20, but Baylor will have a little bit easier job than Texas or Iowa State in that position.
Holding, number 70 of the offense. Penalty is 10 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Well, that could have been a chop block, maybe, Ahmad, but a hold, Texas will take it.
Indeed.
It's on Daniel Burton, the right guard. This is a line that has 3 engineering majors on it. It's a very smart line. One has a huge task against this Texas defense. Santos on that. Well, you've got Jake Campos, who's a left tackle. He's a redshirt freshman. He was a top player in Iowa a couple years ago. He's an engineering major. Daniel Burton, the guy we just showed you at right guard, is also an engineering major. We got 3 of them up there. They call him the Nerd Herd. And watch out, the Nerd Herd just gave up some pressure, and it's big old Malcolm Brown.
Malcolm Brown. This guy can take over the ball game in the middle of the field. You'll see him here, the top of your screen. He just shrugs. It looks like they were setting up some type of bubble screen, so the guard releases him, and it puts Richardson in a tough spot. Richardson patting the ball, and Malcolm Brown chasing him down. I'll take Malcolm Brown in that situation 10 out of 10 times.
3rd and 27. Let's see if they go screen or draw. The ears will be pinned back for Texas. Lets it go. This is going to be well short as Texas comes up to make the play. Some gang tackling. Finished off by Haynes and also Edmond. That was DeVario Montgomery with the catch, but the Texas defense gets the job done, helped out with an early holding call.
It did, and now when you do that, what you can do is you can allow your defensive backs to stand at distance, play soft coverage, keep everything in front of them, and then react to making a play. And that's something that Texas has really had success with versus Baylor, very similar. And now, right now, they're challenging guys to be in man-to-man coverage, and this secondary is holding up.
Colin Downing into punt. Whoa. Texas' Roderick Bernard got close. Jackson Shipley with the blitz on will take the fair catch. And Texas will take over. We're tied at 28. The defensive line stepping up. Who else? It's big Malcolm Brown. The look from the Austonian downtown. Taking a look north. Texas Darrell K. Royal Stadium here. Good shot of the Capitol as well. Beautiful night here in Austin, Texas. Kevin Dunn, Ahmad Brooks, Jane Slater. Texas with the ball. First down and 10 at their own 24-yard line.
And they're going again once with Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray both in the backfield simultaneously.
They give it to Malcolm. Fighting for yards. Well, the 3rd member of our team, Jane Slater, caught up with Paul Rhodes. Jane?
Well, the word he used to describe his team was competitive. He said it was fun to see his team respond to adversity when, especially they were down 14 points in the first half. He seemed anxious to go ahead and get back out here on the field, but really liked to see the way his team battled. So that was good to hear that from Paul Rhodes as they look to improve on that performance in the first half, guys.
Jane, thank you. And this team has shown that all year. It's a resilient ball club. 14-0 is nothing to this team. Swoops under pressure, was looking for MJ McFarland. Nice job right there by Luke Knott, number 21. Luke, an undersized linebacker. Like a lot of these guys, you go through the scouting report for Iowa State, a lot of undersized players. Luke Knott, number 58, Corey Morrissey. This team, this defense gets after it. Take on the mantra of their head coach, Paul Rhodes. Big third down here, Ahmad.
It is. And it's also in the third quarter, so this is where Texas really needs to convert.
He's 2 for 5 on third downs tonight. Swoops. Almost intercepted. A great jump right there by Kamari Cotton Moya, the redshirt freshman free safety. They love both safeties, and you can see why tonight.
Yeah, and Tyrone Swoops here eyes up Jeff Swaim the entire time, and also throws this ball a tad bit behind. If he gets it out in front and lower, it allows the wide receiver and the pass catcher an opportunity to haul that in. But thrown in that location, the DB is going to make the play most of the time.
Cotton Moya's almost had a couple interceptions today. Punt is taken by Wimberly. Peter Jenkins makes the stop. We are tied at 28. Don't go anywhere. Tied at 28 here in Austin between Iowa State and Texas. You see the CB on the Iowa State helmets. That is in remembrance of a very special cyclone. For more on that story, we go down to the field with Jane Slater.
Yeah, the CB as a symbolic decal. It's to honor their former defensive ends coach, Curtis Bray. Now, Curtis Bray passed away suddenly when he was 43 years old, was working out, and turns out that he had a pulmonary embolism, and that came as a shock to a lot of people, specifically Corey Morrissey, their defensive end. Corey Morrissey lost his father when he was a freshman in high school, so Curtis Bray became essentially a surrogate father to him. Now, it's interesting to point out that Curtis Bray has 2 young kids, young Sydney and Colden, and I'm told that he goes over there at least once a week to check on the kids, make sure they're okay, because he knows what it's like not to have a father when you're a young guy. Also of note, his jersey numbers changed this year. He decided to change his jersey number to number 58. That's also to honor Curtis Bray. That was the number he wore when he played at Pittsburgh. Guys, back to you.
Jane, thank you very much. Obviously a sad story, but it shows you how much Curtis Bray meant to this team. Passing away in January, suddenly from a pulmonary embolism at the age of 43, and he has not been forgotten with this Iowa State club. And you'd be happy with what's going on tonight. They're giving Texas a fight. Give up the middle to Syria. Freshman fighting for yards.
It's a great job of Hassan Ridgeway, Paul Boyette holds point on the double.
Paul's getting some time.
He is, and with those types of plays, the coaches will continue to trust him.
Third down and 3. Texas crowd getting into it. Going to bring some pressure off the edge. Almost intercepted by big Malcolm Brown. It deflected off of Lazard. They love to go with the screen to Lazard. Malcolm almost had one this time.
Yeah, and that's to slow down the charge. That particular time, the blitz was coming. They recognized it, so they're trying to get underneath it. Though I believe Caleb Blewett was in prime position to make that play regardless. But you see it here. Just a tunnel screen to get underneath. Blewett recognize it, reads the play, and beats the blocker. That's how you can effectively stop those tunnel screens from hurting you and hurting you with big plays.
Downing lets it go. Jackson Shipley will get a fair catch at the 27, and Tyrone Swoops in Texas will come back out. Well, we saw some really good Tyrone in the first half, Ahmad, and like he has done virtually all year. He started out very hot in this game, but we've also seen some of those young mistakes like the throwback, and that really changed this game. It looked like Texas was on their way to a blowout.
Yeah, and here's the point where Tyrone has to get better. You go back and you look at, we told you about the third down woes. The first 2 third downs for Texas in the third quarter, they're 0 of 2. So no matter what happens on this particular drive, when you get in those critical and crucial situations, you've got to do enough for your team to convert.
Trips to the top. They're going to go ahead and give it. Malcolm Brown. Jevin Miller was there. Luke Knott also in the area. Jevin Miller, 6'1", 241-pound senior for Iowa State. He started as an outside linebacker. They moved him to middle linebacker for the Iowa game, and he's really flourished. Well, that looks like that's going to be a face mask as Malcolm Brown still able to get a couple more yards, and this should give Texas a first down, regardless of 5 or 15.
Yeah, and Kent Perkins and Taylor Doyle doing a wonderful job getting out in front and getting to the second
Personal
level.
foul, grabbing and twisting a face mask. Number 95 of the defense. 15-yard penalties added to the end of the play. First down.
It's going to be on Robbie Garcia. And Iowa State with Brandon Jensen, number 93, their big boy out. They're having to really show their depth. And Garcia at 283, Mitchell Myers ahead of him at 262. They got a big task ahead of them. Harris trying to fight for more yardage. Nigel Tribune finally gets some help. You know, John Harris and Tyrone Swoops talked about Montgomery and Richardson, you know, the chemistry they have. The reason they have such good chemistry, Harris and Swoops, is they were on the second team mainly last year, and they've talked about that. John said after the first game, he said, look, I feel comfortable with Tyrone because I played with Tyrone a lot, and it shows.
And not only that, but they played against the #1 defense. So
True.
you're going against the best competition. And Harris, once again, has been Texas' playmaker. He's done it all season long for him. 6 touchdowns on the year. No one would have expected this kid to come out and what he's been able to do. You see the numbers here. They're mind-boggling. I mean, the kid had 3 touchdown receptions coming in on his career. He's got 6 this year. He's already doubled that total. He's a big play wide receiver, and pro scouts are really liking what he shows in one-to-one coverage. He's a tough physical wide receiver that can get off man press, but his hands, that's what's been most impressive. He's securing catch in traffic. He's securing it over the top. And you want to talk about those 6 touchdowns. Watch the highlight reel that this young man is building here. The first one here, Power, Brew versus North Texas. Another one here. Coach Strong wanted a guy that could take a 5-yard hitch to the house. There it is. Once again, John Harris, excellent speed out and there. Breaking tackles, getting to the end zone. Oklahoma, he does it twice. That's the first over the middle. And look at this catch right here. Lays out, keeps his feet in bounds. This young man is starting to become a ball player.
We just talked about Robbie Garcia and being a little undersized as a redshirt freshman. He's the injured Cyclone. Swoops is going to take it himself. A little stiff arm on Corey Morrissey. And bring up. See if that's good for the first. It should be good for the first, and now they're going to move it. Already a banged up line and already a banged up Cyclone team. 8 guys have been lost for the year. Wow. Swoops. Shipley, and he has him. Actually, that's going to be Jeff Swaim. Think about the injuries that they've had. They've already lost, it's actually 7 guys, but there is an 8th that could be there. And you take a look at the list. Quentin Bundridge, you probably remember that name. He was the biggest.
18 career starts.
And imagine putting him in with a healthy Jarvis West, and then you add this freshman Lazard. Sam Richardson would have plenty of options to work.
I agree.
Brock Daigle. You see 3 offensive linemen. Their run game and their run game issues, a lot like Texas, can probably go back to that.
And those 2 last guys, Peters and Moyers, both of those guys were special team standouts. So not only was it on offense and defense, special teams as well.
That's a great point. Peters was their special teams dynamo, as they said. That ball's hanging up in the air. Nigel Tribune was on the coverage, and that's TJ Mutcherson, who had a shot. Looks like he may be cramping now.
And another 3rd down. But it looks like Texas is keeping their offense out on the field here and going for it on 4th down.
Yeah, 4th down and 9. After the long field goal attempt against Baylor that was blocked and taken back for a touchdown. Texas probably not going to be doing that. Big play here. Swoops is going to step up. Can he get there? Yes, he does. That 6'4" frame just enough for the first.
Yeah, and they brought the pressure. 5-man blitz. Usually when they do that, guys are in man-to-man coverage, and you see Tyrone Swoops take full advantage of it. That thing opens up. Malcolm Brown doing a nice job of shielding the linebacker, and that's all he needed to pick up the first.
Trips to the left. 19 first downs now for Texas. We're back to the ground with Jonathan Gray. Gets about a yard before Mitchell Myers, number 90, the redshirt sophomore, brings him down. Malcolm Brown. Check that. Texas taking a page out of Iowa State with that tempo, Ahmad. 2nd and 9, going to go back to the air, bobbled a little bit, but the catch is made by true freshman Lorenzo Joe.
Yeah, and that's one of those freshmen. They've got about 3 or 4 that they really like at the position. Lorenzo Joe, one of the leaders there, along with Monty Foreman. And they're doing some big things. Doyle is also another player.
Roderick Bernard.
Yeah, Roderick Bernard. Those 4 guys have really put in some good minutes, and the coaches really like what they've seen from them.
Dorian Leonard would be the other one, number 89, as we have a penalty. It looks like this is going to be a false start. Something Texas.
False start, 65 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That really bit Texas last week against Oklahoma, especially in the first half. That one's on Marcus Hutchins.
And you saw the look there from Coach Strong. Not very pleased, not very happy. And that's something that's very difficult. Now you put them in a 3rd down and long situation when you were 3rd and medium, and these are much harder to convert.
Iowa State bringing pressure, swoops, looking for John Harris down the sideline. The hat goes out, so John Harris would have stepped out of bounds. Nigel Tribune on the coverage. Nigel's been a busy guy tonight.
That's good coverage there. He's been picked on tonight, but that time in prime position to make a play, forcing the wide receiver out of bounds.
Nick Rose is on to try 40-yarder. Check that 45-yarder. He's got a big leg. Accuracy has been an issue. This looks good, and it's right down the middle. Nick Rose with a 45-yard field goal, and Texas retakes the lead. We got a shootout in Austin. Don't go anywhere. Texas leads Iowa State 31-28.
Put your eye.
Longhorn Hellraisers always into it. Got the faces painted. It's a heck of a game. Game summary. It's pretty dead even. You look at rushing yards, passing yards. How about time of possession? Look how close this has been, and Iowa State has made some money on what Vance Bedford calls his money downs.
Yeah, and the difference has been money downs. 7 of 14 for Iowa State. They've really got it going after starting off slow in that category, and now you see Texas, as we've talked about, the 3rd quarter struggles. They're only 1 of 4 on 3rd downs right now. They've got to continue to pick that up to have a shot, to continue to move the sticks, get closer into the red zone to score some touchdowns.
Aaron Wimberly and Devondrick Neely are back. Nick Rose after a 45-yard field goal to kick off. And that's just going to catch it for a touchback. He's been excellent with touchbacks tonight. He has the leg, Ahmad. There's no question about that. And if he can just get that accuracy down, watch out. Sam Richardson and the Iowa State offense. It's now their turn. 4:15 to go in the 3rd quarter. And Ahmad, you hit on it. The tempo really changed how this team played in the first half.
Yeah, and they're expecting, Iowa State is, for that tempo to wear down this Texas defense so they can have their way with them in the 4th quarter.
Texas is probably trying to get out of the 3rd quarter with the way it's gone. Richardson under pressure. Poona Ford, the big boys chasing him, but Sam will take the yards he can get. Nice gain as Ridgeway eventually got him.
And the 2nd time tonight that you've seen this Texas defensive ends lose contain, and Richardson turned it into a big play with his feet.
Yeah, that was actually Ridgeway who was going after him, not Poona Ford. Richardson will just take it himself and pick up the 1st down.
This a designed quarterback draw. Offensive lineman get in behind him, pick up yardage, and that's what he did.
Texas defensive coordinator Vance Bedford calls that glancing when they line up real quickly, but then they look over, trying to see if they can get Texas or the defense in a bad look. Richardson the outside once again. And he finds his man, DeVario Montgomery, his former high school teammate.
And that's one way. You were talking about the check with me plays where they look to the sideline. That's one way to really combat a defense that is multiple, because it allows the coaches to have more input on the play.
1st and 10. Richardson behind his guy, Montgomery, Lazard. Duke Thomas on the coverage.
And in speaking to Duke yesterday, this young man feels like he's a shutdown corner. And he believes, along with Quandre and Michael Thompson, that these guys come out here, they compete, they challenge one another, and that man right there, Vance Bedford, gives them an opportunity to do that.
Duke said he wants to be Deion Sanders. His DB coach Chris Vaughn said more like Leon Sandcastle, as Richardson showing his feet.
Not Leon Sandcastle.
Leon Sandcastle. I mean, we just could not stop laughing in the meeting when he said that. We asked Duke about it. He said, oh, yeah, they call me that. 3rd down and 4. Texas crowd getting into it. Haynes on the blitz. They're going to give it off on the run. 1st down for Wimberly. Looking for more. All the way inside the Texas 20. What a run by Aaron Wimberly.
You'll just see it here. This offensive line doing a nice job getting out in front. 74, 76, everybody out in front of this young man. And the offensive line is the one that made the play as they continue this up-tempo.
Richardson once again finds his guy, Montgomery, fighting for a 1st down.
Yeah, Jamison Locke, Tom Farniok, number 70, Daniel Burden. Doing a fantastic job of getting out in front, creating some rushing lanes for their talented tailback.
Farniok, 74, is the senior center. They go with him. He's doing well. Usually the offense is. And Richardson going to make a check up here. 1st down and goal.
One-on-one matchup here at the bottom of your screen. Watch it.
Richardson on the quick slant, and Quandre Diggs was there to meet him. A red zone tonight. The Texas red zone defense, they've allowed 3 touchdowns in 3 possessions. They had been excellent, tied for 22nd in the FBS before tonight. Richardson going to check again. They go 19 for 20. Go with the option, pitch it out, cuts back, and what a hit by Quandre Diggs to stop Wimberly getting in the end zone.
Richardson here just sees Steve Edmond coming on the blitz. He recognized it, and that's why they ran the speed option into the blitz. What that does, slows down the charge, forces the blitzer to decide, do I go and take the quarterback? Do I throw and take the pitch? Sam Richardson, like I said, his control at the line of scrimmage tonight has been the difference in this ball game, especially when Iowa State has had success on offense.
You get Sam on the run here. Run pass option.
I think it's a great play call. Charlie Strong not happy about something.
Now Texas will take a timeout. We'll be back after this.
At Cavender's.
See 3rd downs by half. Iowa State 6 for 11 in the first, 2 for 4 in the second. But really, it's what Texas has done here in the 3rd quarter, and the 3rd quarter struggles continue.
It does, and that 3rd down is so critical because if they're converting, they're keeping their defense off, which keeps their defense fresh. If they're not and they're giving up 50%, that means that Iowa State is staying on the field. They're extending drives. And right now, they're inside the 5, ready to punch this one in and try to take a lead. So this is a critical 3rd down. It doesn't matter what's happened before, but if they can get something done right now and force them into a field goal, this Texas defense won this series.
Your quarterback's good on 3rd down. You're usually good on 3rd down. 3rd and goal. Biggest play of the game so far. Bibbs will split out. Watch him for one-on-one. They're going to go to him. Too tall, though. Adrian Colbert on the coverage with Dylan Haynes.
One thing that Vance Bedford said during the week, they'll move Bibbs to see the man-to-man matchups. You see him there, they just flex him as a tight end. He's trying to run a fade on Adrian Colbert. But a nice job of Adrian Colbert getting in his chest. The throw wasn't in the right location, but I think Adrian Colbert did about as good as you can versus a guy that you're giving up 4 to 5 inches on.
Cold Netton 7 for 7. And 5 FBS kickers to make all of his attempts. 21-yarder from the right hash mark. That's good, and we are tied at 31. A back-and-forth ball game. Paul Rhodes, his club, able to drive down there. Maybe a little bit of a victory for Texas, considering Iowa State had been so good in the red zone prior to that.
I think that's a great victory because, you know, anytime you're tired like that, and every defense knows that, offenses know that that space down there, when you get inside the red zone, it really shrinks. So what it allows you to do as a cornerback and in the back end is you can play on the goal line, force everything to your 11th defender. That 11th defender is that back line. And you want to make sure that you make a quarterback put some air underneath it. You stay in between the quarterback and the wide receiver. Texas is doing that, and they did that on that drive, and that's what allowed them to do that. But sound defense is going to keep them in this game. Expect for them to have to make another critical or crucial stop on 3rd down in order to stop this Iowa State offense.
Chris Rump talking to his defensive line. Do you think this line may be a little worn out?
Yeah, they're tired, and they're winded, and they're doing a good job tonight of keeping the rotation up. And they've been banged up. They're missing one of their emotional leaders in Tank Johnson.
Tank Jackson.
Tank Jackson, and they continue to have to step up.
Desmond Jackson has been a huge loss for this team. Hassan Ridgeway had stepped up. This is Bernard. Roderick get past the 20, and the Texas offense will come back. What have you seen from the Texas offense that they should try and focus on this rest of 13 seconds in 1 quarter?
Well, the quick passing game for them seemed to be working. And I think getting it out in space, especially if they're hovering around the box, take advantage of them trying to shut down Texas running game and get it to your athletes in space. Jackson Shipley, John Harris, or maybe even MJ McFarland, who's in the ball game right now as a flex tight end.
Texas offense 211 yards in the first quarter, 123 yards since. Pitch to Jonathan Gray. Gray with a solid run. They'll set up about 2nd down and 5.
Cameron Hughes there and Jackson Shipley doing enough to break that play open.
We have played 3 here in Austin, and we are all knotted up at 31. Tyrone Swoop, Sam Richardson. Which QB is going to win it?
You're watching long.
Busy night in Austin, Texas. Busy night here at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. We start the 4th quarter tied at 31. This is a big game for both these teams as Swoops has that knockdown. Kevin Dunn, Ahmad Brooks, and Jane Slater as we start the 4th quarter here. 3rd down and 5. Texas looked great in the first quarter. 211 yards, 127 cents. You see the yards per play. Iowa State has made some adjustments, and Sean Watson, the Texas play caller, going to try and dial something up here in the 4th quarter. 3rd down and 5. Horns 2 for 8 this game. Screen, and Iowa State was all over it. Jordan Brackens read it. Number 14, the nickel senior, came up, and Texas will be forced to punt.
Yeah, and that's rare because they made the right play call. It was a blitz, 5-man pressure, and they're trying to get him underneath. But Iowa State doing a good job of recognizing the play and playing to their help. They knew exactly what to do there. They were prepared for that play.
So Wally Burnham, the longtime defensive coordinator, Good job with his son of recruiting Florida. His son's also on the staff. Booming kid. Will Russ got all of this. And Wimberly with some room now because of the kick is collared. Big time tackle right there by Cedric Reed.
Well, that's different.
All Big 12 guy on punt team, huh?
That is, you're starting defensive end. But he just outkicked his coverage here. You see no one for Texas, not even in the frame. Will Russ put his foot on that one, and then how about the starting defensive end? Cedric Reed running down on punt. That'll get you going.
Good field position for Iowa State at their own 43. Ced Reed probably wants to get that sack total up. He's going to have his chance here. Richardson under pressure, and down he goes. Jordan Hicks, the first one to get him.
And that's a six-man pressure as you see Jordan Hicks at the bottom of your screen. He's got to fight off the blocker. Nice job of sifting his way through traffic as he just gets away from the running back. Number 20, Devondrick Neely, beats him, gets to the quarterback, gets home base, drags him down. Texas now in a great situation on second down.
Three-man look, but they're bringing pressure. They're bringing five, and they get to him. The fifth guy got to him. It's Quandre Diggs.
On a nickel blitz once again. Second time in a row, Vance Bedford bringing it home, bringing in the blitz. You see Edmond there coming, and Quandre Diggs coming from the nickel position. One of the harder blitzes, if done right and timed appropriately, for a quarterback to recognize.
Vance Bedford dialing it up. 3rd and 18. Four-man rush. Richardson intercepted. Duke Thomas. What are you laughing at, DB?
Oh, those dance moves. That's what I'm laughing at. But I tell you
Yours
what.
weren't any better, all right?
No, they weren't. That's why I never showed them. But I can tell you this much. The pressure, back-to-back plays, that's exactly what happened. Now you've got busy feet, quarterback looking for something, and Duke Thomas, the self-proclaimed shutdown corner, with an INT.
Duke Thomas with the dance moves after that. He has really made a jump. Said earlier that Coach Vaughn, the defensive back coach, called him Leon Sandcastle instead of Dion, but he looked more like Dion there. Now the Texas offense looking for a home run off the turnover. Swoops, gonna let it go. Looking for his man Shipley. Flags are down. And this is gonna be pass interference, but may have been a smart play by Sam Richardson because that was 6.
Ball still thrown in the right location. You can see it there clearly. Pass interference as the contact happens before the ball gets there.
Number 4 of the defense. Penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Yeah, and Swoops would have loved that completion there, but the fact that his wide receiver, Jackson Shipley, had a few steps on Richardson, the corner there, was just enough to force him to have to make a decision. Now Texas, on Iowa State's side of the field, this is where they've got to continue, the +40, to make something happen as they approach that red zone where they've had some struggles.
Richardson back home. He's from League City, Texas, the same city that Marcus Johnson's from. I'm sure they gave some scouting reports. 1st and 10, that's MJ McFarland in motion. And they give it to Brown as Swoops fell down. Not much room for Malcolm Brown. No shock that 58 Corey Morrissey was there to meet him. Tyrone started 8 for 8, 11 for 22 since then. How much of that is scripted plays and just being comfortable with what you know you're going to be running?
You know, most offense coordinators have at least the 10 to 15 plays scripted at the beginning of a ball game. So the majority of those are probably scripted plays that they've designed to attack this Iowa State defense.
Zone read look, he's going to keep it. Swoops to the 25, the 20, looking to stay in bounds, reaching for the 11. TJ Mutcherson with the stop.
This is just awesome right here. You see the option. A nice job of reading what he saw inside. And who says this guy can't run the football? Tyrone Swoopes getting on the edge and making plays for this team.
Texas in the red zone. Can they punch in? More importantly, can they take care of the football? Swoopes has been running the ball. Good for 7.2 average as Malcolm Brown was fighting for yards.
And the more he runs like that, the more it opens it up for a senior tailback and junior tailback, Jonathan Gray and Malcolm Brown. So it just forces defense to have to defend an extra runner. He's almost like a running back in those option situations, and that's tough on the defense.
Ahmad, we saw last week against Oklahoma. Oklahoma was not even going after Swoopes. Finally, Texas told Swoopes, hey, we're running. We're not even looking at you. 2nd and 8. Brown. Malcolm tackled by Luke Knott, who was holding on for dear life.
Cedric Flowers with a good block there, getting out in front, getting to the 2nd level, and providing just enough of a crease for Malcolm Brown to get up in behind him and drive forward.
Ced Flowers, junior from Houston. He was a big recruit, but really hadn't done much on the 40 acres. Bill Rickline's done a nice job with that young man. Big 3rd and 2. Swoopes going to keep it himself. Diving for the end zone. Did he get it? No. Linesman's going to come in and say just at the 1-inch line, but it will be a first down for Texas. But a first down at the 1-inch line, maybe Texas fans a little worried about that.
Yeah, once again, he's running the football. I like his aggressiveness, and he's doing it, and he's deciding quickly. He's not sitting back pondering on, do I pull this thing and run? He's making decisive decisions, and that's what's resulting in his success on the ground.
They're going to take another look at this.
That's a close one.
Great shot from our crew. They did a great job of getting it, but that's kind of a coin toss. Going to be tough to overturn, though.
I agree. It looks like his knee's down. This is the best view we have there. Yeah, he's down.
Good call.
And the ball has not broken the barrier. Boy, that's real time for those officials to be able to make that call. That's a wonderful call. And those guys are huddled up there, and you know, they don't always get the credit, and they don't always get the praise, if you will, but that time doing a fine job of making the right call, and of course spotting the ball where it should be.
One of those jobs, if they mention your name, you're not doing your job well.
Good point. Look at the effort here, though, Tyrone Swoopes. And it was interesting talking to Malcolm Brown on Friday. He said, what we learned from Tyrone Swoopes in the Oklahoma game was that he cared about this team. Something was different about him when he stepped in the huddle in the 4th quarter. And when players start to notice that, when you're hungry and you're eager to lead your team, that's when you are the leader in the locker room. So as Tyrone Swoopes continues to ascend,
they're going to go and stick with the call, so it'll be 1st and goal, Texas.
Yeah, that was no surprise there. But when you're doing those types of things and making this type of effort, the extra to get in the end zone, boy, does it really charge your mates up. And they begin to see, okay, now we can follow this guy. And he's a young player still, trying to learn his way. Those are all positive signs, hearing those types of comments from a senior running back.
Swoopes going to hand off to Malcolm Brown. Touchdown, Texas. The shootout in Austin continues. Will Russ to hold. Nick Rose to come on to try and make it 38-31, and he does. Well, it all started with a Duke Thomas interception, finished off by Malcolm Brown. Texas back on top. Texas with a 38-31 lead. It's been a back-and-forth game. 4th quarter, 10:22 to go. Kevin Dunn, Ahmad Brooks, James Slater here in Austin, Texas. Fans are having a ball. Texas defense not really having that much of a ball, as Iowa State has been able to rack up some yards, also rack up some points, and Cyclone offense will be back at it as Texas Sideline getting into it for Nick Rose, who's about to let it go. Another touchback. You know, a couple weeks ago, Charlie Strong came out and said, I had to talk with Jonathan Gray and Malcolm Brown, my 2 running backs. They're obviously talented, but you're not always going to have Mack truck holes to run through like the 93 Dallas Cowboys may give you.
That's true.
Sometimes you got to lower your pads and get after them. Have you seen that from Malcolm Brown specifically?
Yeah, and I asked him the question on Friday. I said, at this point last season is where you really turned it on. He put together a stretch that was by far the best in his career. And it was a mindset, it was a mentality, and you start to see Malcolm Brown really pick that up. He came into this game as the leading rusher, and he's continuing to do work on the ground.
Now it's up to the Texas defense. It's E.J. Bibbs. Bibbs has had a nice game. Dylan Haynes, the safety, came over to clean it up. Jordan Hicks was also there. Boy, the Texas defense, I just mentioned it, looked so good against Baylor even. I mean, they did a good job against Bryce Petty, holding him to 111 passing yards. Did a great job against Oklahoma. Iowa State has moved the ball on them this game. 2nd and 8. Looking for Bibbs again, trying to one-hand it. And once again, Hicks was all over him.
Yeah, this was a nice job of tracking here. Hicks was locked up man-to-man with Bibbs. And he's coming off the field.
That's
he took
not
a shot
good.
there. But you see him, he's coming across. Great angle and pursuit by Jordan Hicks, knocking the ball loose. Bibb goes up with one hand and comes off the field after a big hit and a big blow from the leader of this defense. An attitude, as I like to call him, Jordan Hicks.
That's one guy Texas doesn't have to ID on this 3rd down and 8. Richardson gets it across. Not going to be enough, though. Wandre Diggs came to help clean it up. They'll bring up 4th down and 3, and Iowa State's going to come in punt formation.
Now I want to show you something here. You watch Steve Edmond in the middle of your field. This time he drops appropriately. Before, they've been shortening that off. You want to get your linebacker about 10 to 12 in that hook to curl. He got at the proper distance, which allowed him to play forward, play in front of him, and make an open field tackle.
Shipley running up, calls the fair catch, and Texas will have good field position at the 36-yard line. The Texas defense did their job. Can the offense get the horn some separation? We'll be back to Austin right after this.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
Texas football on Longhorn Network is brought to you by the new Chevy Silverado, official truck of the Texas Longhorns.
Some all-access footage. If you haven't checked out that show, you are missing out. One of the best shows we have on Longhorn Network. Venture to say one of the best on TV.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's just as candid and as real as it comes.
Well, Texas offense trying to get something going after the last drive where they took the lead. Now a little separation. Jordan Brackens has had himself a nice game. Strong side linebacker, also a nickel guy at 213. Kind of can be a little hybrid.
That's exactly what he is, and they use him that way. They let him bring pressure from that nickel back spot because he's a little bit larger, can handle the tackle, but also they feel comfortable with his coverage skills. They'll lock him up, and he's done a fine job for them tonight as one of those guys that you said is a hybrid rusher slash guy that can drop back in coverage.
2nd down and 12. Possession pretty close. Coaches, defensive-oriented coaches, usually like to win that stat. Swoops, quick drop. Nice catch by M.J. McFarland. A little one-hand job. Boy, all the talent in the world is there with 85, Ahmad. And he's not the best pass blocker or run blocker in the world, but a guy has some skills.
I've always said this. Do what you're good at. And if pass catching is what you do well for M.J. McFarland, bring that to the table and highlight that with your skill, because obviously the coaches are giving him an opportunity. At this point, yes, he's still trying to develop his blocking skills, but I know plenty of guys at the next level that don't like to block. but they catch touchdowns, and that's all that matters.
Guy who played here, Jermichael Finley.
Indeed.
3rd down and 11. Iowa State bringing pressure. Texas able to pick it up. Swoops, looking for John Harris, just a little bit too much. Nigel Tribune was on the coverage.
The offensive line for Texas doing a nice job. They bring the pressure once again, but the pocket is good enough for John Harris to be able to make a decision here. And here's what happens. They like to play that paintball, that stop fade to John Harris where he takes a glance back and they throw it to his back shoulder. Sometimes for a quarterback and a wide receiver, that communication can get tripped up. You saw John Harris take an early look back. That prevented him from being able to stretch the field.
Wells has had a nice game. It's a lot of air under this. Allowed his Texas Longhorns to get down there, and the punt team was all over that. Iowa State has the football. They trail by 7.
Texas Sports.
Point of this game, Texas defense stepped it up. Couple big sacks. Got pressure on Sam Richardson, and then got an interception by Duke Thomas. That would lead to a Texas touchdown to go up 38-31. That's where we stand right now. The Texas defense back out on the field, and they've been tested by this Iowa State offense tonight. Vance Bedford not going to be too happy with some of the numbers they've given up. Richardson to his big boy Bibbs. Jordan Hicks makes a play, but not after he gets 7 or 8.
Yeah, they see those high safeties, and if those linebackers aren't covering him up at the initial pre-snap read, they're just going to have him bubble, put him in space, and let him pick up yardage. Once again, 8 yards for Bibbs.
Trips to the right, including Bibbs. Gonna hand it off, and whoa! Oh, Malcolm Brown was there to meet Aaron Wimberly. Hello.
You want to see an all-conference player. Look at this. Watch him. He takes his gap. He's got the double team. He splits it, and I mean fires off on the running back, and the mean stare to go along with it. Malcolm, calm down.
3rd down and 3. Longhorns bringing pressure. They can't get to him. Montgomery's got it. 1st down, Iowa State. To blow the whistle. Well, Ahmad, I got to give you a lot of credit. You said on film that you can tell that Montgomery and Richardson have been playing together since high school, and it showed tonight.
Well, he knows where he's at. The timing on their throws, when I went back and watched the Toledo game, that was what stood out to me, is that all of their timing seemed as though they had the chemistry that's needed in order to make those plays.
Played high school ball together in Florida. Open is Lazard. All the way down to the 20, inside the 20. Iowa State knocking on the door again.
Yeah, he catches them in a blitz once again up top. Lazard beating Michael Thompson, of course, over the top. It looked like he was supposed to have some over-the-top help, but the ball was thrown on time in the appropriate window, and that's what beat the Texas defense.
Gonna mark it down actually at the 22-yard line. Nice moves by Wimberly, and Wimberly fighting all the way down inside the 10-yard line.
And they've gone back to that up-tempo, trying to wear down this defense, not allowing them a lot of time to get their play call, to get aligned appropriately.
Wimberly has not had a great senior year. He's had a good night, though, a lot.
He has, and especially in the second half, he's been much more effective.
1st and goal from the 8. They're going to give it to Wimberly. Can he get in? Touchdown, Cyclones! .59", 177-pound senior Aaron Wimberly goes in from 8 yards out.
And you rarely see this from Jordan Hicks. He just took a bad angle. He couldn't get back out in time, and the burst from Wimberly was enough to get to the second level and to break the arm tackle of Jordan Hicks and Dylan Haynes.
Wimberly, the senior from Georgia, and Netton ties it up again. Well, after Texas was able to take the lead, Iowa State able to come back. Wimberly, the senior, ties it up. Charlie Strong, Paul Rhodes, both these coaches know the importance of this game, the importance of getting to a bowl game, and that's what both these teams have talked about. Obviously not where they want to be, both coming in at 2-4 overall, but for Charlie Strong, trying to build a foundation. John Harris, a senior, Malcolm Brown said, hey, we know we're not going to win the national championship going defeated, clearly, but getting to a bowl game is huge.
These seniors want to make sure that they can leave this program in a much better place than they found it.
Well, 2010, the only time Iowa State has beaten Texas, 22nd ranked Texas hosting the Cyclones. Iowa State led 14-3 at the half. 21-6 after Josh Lentz's 15-yard catch. Alexander Robinson's second touchdown in the afternoon. There was a blowout, 28-6, with 13 minutes left in the game. Texas would come back, scoring 15 unanswered, but an interception would end it. Paul Rhodes and Iowa State, their first win ever against Texas, 28-21. 10-1 all-time against the Cyclones, and this game is big for both programs for different reasons.
It is, and you've heard me talk about it. Tyrone Swoops once again with an opportunity to lead his team down for a victory. How will he be able to handle the situation after going through it at UCLA and Oklahoma?
5 ties, 2 lead changes. Been a very competitive game. Swoops just fighting off Jevin Miller, and it's a first down.
I'm glad you used the word fight, because that was energy, that was passion, and that's what Malcolm Brown was talking about. A nice job of getting Skinny there in the middle, and he's a load. He may not burn by you, but he will roll through you. And that's what Tyrone Swoops' running game is built on. A nice job of reading it there. Malcolm Brown getting out in front and doing just enough.
Look at his rushing yards by game, 7, 11, 7, 40, 50, 84 tonight. He is getting more comfortable with his feet. Give it to Malcolm Brown. Brown fighting for yards. Trent Taylor, 98, makes a stop. Up second down. If you're Texas, do you try and get both? Eat a little clock and get some points to try to rest that defense, which has been on the field a lot?
I think so. I think you continue to try to rush the ball, especially on first and second down, and minimize those third downs and make them as short as possible.
Swoops going to keep it again. By Knott at midfield, and continues to add to his career high in rushing for a game.
Yeah, and these third and shorts are so hard on the defense because you know they have the possibility of running the football here, but if you commit so many numbers on the inside, a quick passing game now is like a running game. So teams and offenses use that as often as they do, running right up the middle to gain short yardage situations like this one.
So 21, Luke Knott looked to be a little banged up. He's going to stay in the game, though. Swoops going to roll right. Gets a block, finds his man. Who else? His safety blanket, John Harris.
Yeah, it was man-to-man. They were matched up here on Shipley and Harris, and they sprint out with Tyrone Swoops to his right. We talked about it earlier. This young man is so comfortable rolling this way. A nice job of protecting up front. John Harris, the savvy senior, sitting down in that zone and doing it right when he was supposed to and making himself available for his quarterback.
The senior story of John Harris continues to get better. 8 catches, 118 yards, and his quarterback almost broke one. Swoops. You can see the confidence as Taylor brought him down.
Yeah, he's aggressively making the decision now to run. Yeah, there's no indecision. He sees it, he's going. He's reading that 5 technique. The guy lined up over the tackle or the tight end, depending on where he's at. And he's been reading them fairly well tonight.
Seeing some hands on the hips of the Cyclone defenders. Both defenses have to be worn out. Malcolm Brown, another first down for Texas, and the clock continues to move. It will stop with the first down, obviously.
Texas giving Iowa State a dose of their own medicine with this up-tempo offense. Now they go back to the huddle, but they're finding success in making sure that they run the ball efficiently and get in and out of plays as fast as they can.
Swoops hands off. Bunch of Cyclones on him there. Trent Taylor was there, so was Corey Morrissey. Bring up 2nd down and 7 after a 3-yard gain. Coming up on 2 minutes here, Ahmad, and Nick Rose getting ready if he has to kick another one, career long. Actually had a 45-yarder, and that was earlier this game.
2-minute offense, you work on it just about the end of every practice for these types of situations.
Swoops, really nowhere to go. Darius White, number 41, kind of had him in a phone book there, Ahmad.
Yeah, that was just nice defending by Iowa State's defense. They've seen that play a few times tonight, and this time they read it right.
Well, we're coming up on the biggest play of the game so far. It'll be 3rd down and 8. Sean Watson, the play caller for Texas. If you're in his head right now, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that this is a critical moment in the game. And you can see him, look at him, when he's got that hand on his head.
Yeah.
This is crucial.
He knows it.
This is where he makes his money. And, you know, just looking at how they've been able to drive the ball down the field on this particular drive, there you see the co-offensive coordinator, Joe Wickline, in charge of the running game. And I can say this much. Tyrone Swoops has been the key to this drive. So if I'm Coach Watson, if I'm Coach Wickline, I put it back in the hands of my guy that's gotten me down this far. Give him a decision, maybe on a bootleg. Force him to where he's coming downhill at the line of scrimmage, can run or throw, and put the defense in a bad spot.
Iowa State with 2 timeouts left. Each team with 2 timeouts left. You look at Swoops' numbers. 1 at 33 for 253. That interception will stand in his head, but Tyrone continues to progress as a quarterback for this team.
Yeah, and his leadership skills are what's important. And these are the moments where you win your mates over, you win your teammates over. You want the guys in the locker room to love you, show up in these types of moments.
Johnson and Shipley up top. Harris down on the bottom of your screen. 3rd and 8. The screen to Shipley. He's got it to the 10, inside the 5. What a call by Sean Watson.
Wow. Timely call here with the slip screen, allowing that offensive line to get to the 2nd level and create just a natural crease for Shipley with his great hands and his wonderful awareness in the middle of the field. He knew where he was going with that one.
Iowa State now looking at the clock. Texas needs to be clean with the ball. We've talked about their red zone turnovers, and almost another one. But Malcolm Brown takes it in. Touchdown, Texas. Four-yard run from the senior from Cibolo Steele. Play 75-yard drive. The Horns needed it, and they got it. Rose tacks on the extra point. Texas again up by 7. What a drive for the Horns.
Yeah, and it started with this big 3rd down conversion, just a slip screen. Swaim out in front. Cedric Flowers out in front. Taylor Doyle out in front. And then here you go. I want you to watch this man, Jeff Swain, Alex Delatorre, and watch this entire offensive line with the power just go downhill, and this is tough football. They've got one thing in mind, the end zone. Great job of doubling up, providing the rushing lanes for Malcolm Brown to finish it off for his 2nd touchdown of the night.
In his 3rd of the season. Malcolm Brown before tonight, or 4th, I'm sorry, had not scored since North Texas.
Yeah, and he's feeling good. And we asked him yesterday, and you saw that big old smile come on his face. And I said, this is the stretch where you take over. He's playing like a senior tonight. He's been very forceful when he's in open field. And right now, Malcolm Brown, the senior. And what do you say about Swoops, the young quarterback?
He's throwing.
Oh, my goodness.
His eyes lit up when he was talking about Tyrone Swoops yesterday. Malcolm Brown is an excellent young man to talk to, and he has really taken over the leadership reins. He even said, I'll go to the defensive seniors to see how they're talking to the younger guys. I want to learn how they're even being leaders. But now that defense, it is up to that defense for Texas, and Iowa State's offense has been moving the ball. If you're Vance Bedford, do you do anything differently? What is your game plan here with 1:19 to go, and they got to get 7?
Well, Sam Richardson is so good that I think you've got to bring some type of pressure at some point. Now, I doubt they'll get into a 6-man pressure, more of a 5, where they can drop more numbers back in coverage, because you don't want to give him an easy one, but you don't want to let him sit back there and pick you apart in the pocket as well.
50 attempts, 313 yards. He has thrown 2 picks to go with the 2 touchdowns.
We've got a ball game.
We do. We've had one all night. Richardson complete. That's going to be close to a first down. There is a penalty, as big shocker, it's Montgomery again.
Personal foul, hands to the face, number 88 of the defense. The 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the run. First down.
We've talked about Texas shooting themselves in the foot. Another example.
That was one of them, and that one comes from Cedric Reed. You'll see him at the top of your screen. He just gets underneath. Sometimes those hands slide up once you get on those sweaty shoulder pads and runs right underneath his chin. That's just a play you can't make.
Big Jake Gannon, who we talked about earlier, the right tackle. Bibbs will step out of bounds. Thompson will force him out. Why have the flats in that area been so open against this Texas defense?
Well, they're running a lot of man-to-man with their linebackers, so they're doing speed outs. They're getting their backs, they're getting their tight ends, their slots into the space fast, and Richardson is getting out of his hands efficiently.
1:04 to go. Iowa State still with 2 timeouts left. Richardson has his man again. Montgomery will get out of bounds. Davario Montgomery, 6'5", 219-pounder. He's had himself a ball game.
And they just flooded that side of the area, the boundary side, something you don't normally do. But they had a wide receiver and a passing target at every level. And that really forced the defense in zone to decide where they would cover and defend. And they picked the wrong man.
Gonna hand it off. Wimberly with some moves and another first down. Dylan Haynes has to drag him down. The Texas run defense had been excellent last week, not so this week.
4-man pressure. Iowa State seeing that Texas is dropping 7 back. So they run the football.
40 seconds and counting. Gonna run it again. Not much room. Ridgeway was in there. Cedric Reed was pulling from behind. Iowa State will use their 2nd timeout. That will give them 1 timeout left, but with that, the middle of the field is still open.
Well, they can do just about anything here. You know, with that 1 timeout, and they've also got enough time, obviously, at this point, to throw a pass, and if there's an incompletion, to get back up to the line of scrimmage. But Richardson has been hot. 7 straight completions, 91 yards. And when you've got a good quarterback in football, boy, does it help in these critical moments of a ball game, because you can hand him the ball. He's a coach on the field, and he has been effective. 7 straight completions. This guy's on fire. So expect him to put it back in his hands and say, Sam, go win us this game.
Let's start with Texas, the importance of this game for this team right now.
Well, I mean, this is a turning point. You know, you haven't had a great record here at home. Texas, unfortunately, hasn't played well in front of their home crowd, and now you've got Iowa State trying to come in and rip your heart out. The bottom line is they've got to bow their back here, prove that they can win these close and critical games, because they've dropped quite a few of those this year. This is big for momentum moving forward.
Cyclones looking for their first win in the Big 12 this year. This would be a huge one. They're also looking to go to a bowl. Richardson over the middle. Bibbs, touchdown Iowa State. E.J. Bibbs was talked about as one of the best tight ends in the country coming into this game. He's lived up to it. Mark Mangino has called himself one whale of a game.
Yeah, and Sam Richardson deserves some credit. That's 8 straight completions now. He's on fire.
Big extra point. Cole Netton. Oh, sneaks it in. Well, let's go back to Bibbs, who has been hard to stop tonight.
Just a matchup nightmare, Vance Bedford said, and look at him. Now, that's just great spacing and awareness. We all know that this kid is an athlete. You look at him, his specs on paper, it yells and screams NFL. But those types of plays, finding space in the zone, the awareness to know where to go. And the ball by Sam, I mean, look at this thing. It's thrown on time, in the right area, and Bibbs tonight is doing what most people thought he could do. 6 plays, 75 yards in 51 seconds.
6 plays in 51 seconds?
That's amazing.
Unbelievable. Now, if you're Iowa State kicking off here, do you squib and not give the Texas return guys a chance?
Well, it depends on how comfortable you feel with the distance of your kicker. I've seen them tonight put a few in the end zone, and if you feel comfortable with that, you'd much rather them have a touchback than to give them an opportunity to get a quick return on a swift kick.
Roderick Bernard and Adrian Colbert will be back. Old Netton getting ready to launch. Texas with 2 timeouts left. Will kick it deep. This is going to be Bernard. Bernard, it's dangerous. Roderick, there he goes. All the way up to the 28. He was close to breaking that one.
We talked about those young freshmen. Roderick Bernard is one of those young men that really impresses me. He's more of a slot wide receiver, but he's now earning more touches at the return position, and he's got the speed and the quickness and the burst to make things happen. And speaking of special teams, Texas is in another situation. They drive down here. If you're Tyrone Swoops, you're playing for a field goal. You know your area for your guy as Nick Rose is warming up, but this has got to be a nerve-wracking moment for everybody on the field.
He was hitting from 55 heading this direction before the game, and he's able to get to the 38. Swoops looking for Shipley. He's got him. Jackson Shipley all the way in Iowa State territory.
A simple wheel route.
Texas
and Jackson Shipley. Wow.
2 timeouts here, Ahmad. Got to manage the clock well. We'll see what Texas wants to do.
Yeah, and that was just a wheel route. He gets outside there in man-to-man coverage. And once he sees those numbers, he knows what to do with that.
At the 2 timeouts, clock stopped with Shipley going out of bounds, and Iowa State's now going to come in and call a timeout. That is their final timeout. Ahmad is a DB. You know you can't let Shipley get by you, but he did.
So many times they've killed him tonight on that out. And you see him, he takes an underneath approach there, and that was the wrong move by Jordan Brackens as Tyrone Sweeps throws it on time. And you see him here. Oh, great balance on his throw. He stood tall in the pocket. The proper trajectory on that pass to put it in enough. We've seen him early on. He's got such a big arm. Sometimes he flatlines it. That time, the appropriate air to get it to one of his key targets. You see him again targeted 9 times tonight. How can you not look for this guy? He's a sure-handed wide receiver, maybe the best route runner on the team, and he comes up with a clutch play in the closing moments of this ball game.
14 seconds left. It's been a wild one here in Austin. We're tied at 45. It's been back and forth. Jackson Shipley with a huge catch. See if Texas, what they do offensively here, Ahmad, with 2 timeouts and still trying to get some more yards, obviously. This will be about a 50-yarder from here. They're going to go for it. Swoops all the way down. Inside the 5, John Harris. The senior comes up again. Texas going for it.
What an incredible story and ending to this ball game. John Harris, one-on-one opportunities. Iowa State brought the blitz, and look at Sean Watson getting fired up. You see that matchup, you go to it, the confidence to give it to your senior.
Is he upset there, or is he fired up, you think?
No, he's fired up. Trust me. Look at him. I mean, right here, he just beats one-on-one. You see there, they're in press coverage. There's nothing you can do. You're covering this guy as good as you can, but John Harris is a playmaker. And the ball, boy, did he lay this one out. Prime position there. I mean, that's the play. And you see him leave it up there like a big three.
Now, he looked like
boy.
Jordan in Utah there.
Yes, he did. He looks into me.
Oh, he's out of bounds.
Out of bounds, no touchdown, but he certainly made the catch.
The catch is there. 9 catches for 147 yards for John Harris. You know, Sean Watson said, when I saw the guy, when we first got here, I thought, man, I need a big receiver like that. He's 6'2". They wanted him to lose a little weight. They felt like he was a little bit heavy last year and a little heavy in the offseason. He's gotten down to 221. And John Harris, all of a sudden, NFL people are talking about him. That would have been a joke a year ago.
It would have been. And we asked him, what's been most important to your success this year? He said,
After
conditioning.
review, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down.
Indeed. Conditioning and confidence. The conditioning has given him the point to know he's prepared for any one-on-one matchups that come his way. And the confidence. He hadn't done it a whole lot, so to be able to do it early on in the season has really helped him move forward to say, I deserve to be out here. I deserve this role, as they send out Nick Rose here to what looks like to get a field goal.
Yeah, it'll be about a 22-yarder. It's going to be from the 21-yarder, left hash mark. Will Russell Holt. Surprised they're not going to the middle. But it doesn't matter. Rose knocks it through, and Texas takes a 48-45 lead with 3 seconds to go. Rose banging it through the uprights.
Well, I tell you what, Iowa State has fought here today. But the team with more fight is in burnt orange. It came out, they've had to handle some adversity, still struggling woefully in the third quarter, but it didn't matter. They come out here in the fourth quarter, do what was necessary, and Tyrone Swoops has been clutch these last 2 drives. The way that he has operated this offense, guided and directed his talent, taking a chance on his guys, throwing it up, giving them a chance to make big plays. You see John Harris there with Vance Benford. Look at the senior with that big old smile. He's been the playmaker tonight.
His last 2 possessions. How about his last 2 games? Against Oklahoma, 384 total yards. Tonight, 416. Chevy Silverado, play of the game. What else? John Harris.
Yeah, and he almost got him another touchdown there. But, I mean, that's great. That's great coverage. That is
not
great
bad coverage at all. The coverage was there. John Harris, 12 targets, 9 catches. Wow. What a story he's been. If you're not aware of John Harris, he did not have the type of career. He even said yesterday in the meeting, I didn't want to be known as a bust. You don't hear many guys who are bust call themselves that. He said, I don't want to be that. I don't think John Harris is going to go out that way in Texas' memory.
He's destroying that label, for sure.
Well, this is interesting because he's been kicking the ball to the end zone. Do you do that or do you squib it with 3 seconds?
I think with this amount of time, you squib it.
Big bounce. And taking a knee is nearly, what's easier, going 90 yards or taking a kickoff back for a touchdown?
I think right now what they want to do is just put the ball in the hands of their quarterback. I mean, the way that Sam Richardson has played tonight, the way that he's bought time, it's almost impossible for you not. I would take my chances with my quarterback versus my returner. I don't know what's easier, but I just know that Sam Richardson is hot right now. And if I'm Paul Rhodes, that's what I'm thinking. Give it to my quarterback.
Texas Game Day Final powered by the all-new Chevy Silverado, Lowell Galindo, Ricky Williams, Vince Young, David Thomas. Gonna have all the highlights, analysis, and interviews coming up. It has been a wild one here in Austin. Texas trying to finish it off. 2 seconds left. Iowa State's got to go 90.
John Harris deep.
Hook and ladder. And now they just got to try and keep it alive. The throw back, the big boy can't get it. And this thing is over with. Finally, Texas wins it 48-45. Iowa State wasn't going to go down easy, but they were going back. Ahmad, big victory for Texas.
Yeah, it was. They were close at UCLA. They were close at Baylor. They were close last week versus Oklahoma. To finally pull out one of these, it'll certainly be a confident booster for the coaching staff, the players, and these fans who are sticking around here tonight.
As for Iowa State, they really didn't know what their offense was going to do against this great Texas defense. Their offense had not been moving the ball too well. They got to be at least leave here thinking, all right, we're starting to move the ball now.
Yeah, and if you're the Iowa State defense, you're thinking to myself, we left our offense out to dry. I mean, this was a very competitive defense coming into this ball game, and who would have thought they'd have put up 45?
Let's go down to the field. Jane Slater is with Coach Strong.
Coach, exciting game to say the least. Your team's backs against the wall in the final minutes of the game, and they pull the win off. What does this mean for your team moving forward in conference play?
Well, you always like to see us come back and, we're down, and then actually we go and score, and then defensively we didn't play well. We allowed them to go drive the ball, and then we make two big throws there at the end with Tyrone hooking up with Shipley, and then, getting a big one to Harris. But it's great just to see the fight and the resiliency.
Gutsy calls there with your young QB, Tyrone Swoops. What does that say about your confidence level in him right now?
Well, he continues to get better each and every week, so you can really count on him.
Coach, congrats on the win. Thank you so much. Guys, back to you.
Jane, thank you very much. And now, for the eyes of Texas, John Harris is going to enjoy this one.